You are trapped in the dark cellar of your home. Beside you is the murdered body of your wife. And above at the front door are your friends looking for you, tracking you down, cutting off your escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully contrived to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a university town in England and a household where hate holds sway. As we listen to John Collier's famous story, Back for Christmas.
Bells jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is. Yes, my dear.
What on earth are you doing down here in the cellar?
Why, just a little digging.
And why, may I ask, have you chosen this day of all days to dig up the cellar floor?
Why, I thought as the weather has been so damp, this would be an excellent time to plant my devil's garden.
Devil's garden? Whatever nonsense is that?
Oh, that's my little joke about it. You see, I've managed to secure some of the spores of several unclassified wild orchids. In their natural state, they bloom under damp masses of leaf mold. The Araucanian Indians call them devil flowers because they appear to bloom under the ground.
Well, I'm sure the Araucanian Indians will be very interested if you succeed in growing these ridiculous flowers under the cellar floor. Whom else it'll interest, I can't imagine. What's that terrible smell?
Why, that's the leaf mold, my dear. Chemically identical with the earth blanket they grow under in the wild state. I really should line the pit with concrete so as to prevent seepage from this foreign soil. But I don't suppose there'll be time for it now.
There certainly will not be time for it. Do you realize that we're sailing for America a week from today, and you've made no arrangements whatever? Unless you call digging a hole in the cellar making arrangements. I certainly don't. Devil's garden, indeed. Sometimes I think you're going soft in the head, Herbert.
Well, I suppose it's inconsiderate of me. But, you see, I've been wanting to try this experiment for a long time. But what with my lectures and seminars at the university, there never seemed to be time.
Well, there certainly isn't any time for it now. I suppose you've forgotten I made an appointment for you at the barber's this afternoon?
Oh, must I shave off my beard, Hermione?
Now, we've been all through that. Of course you must. They don't wear beards in America. Go and get your jacket on and do as I tell you.
Yes, Hermione.
And don't forget to take your umbrella. It looks like rain.
Yes, Hermione.
Oh, don't look so put upon, Herbert. Someone has to plan things in this house, or you'd never even get to the university in time for your lectures, much less make arrangements for a trip to America.
I know, but what of my specimens?
There'll be plenty of time to plant your precious devil's garden when you get home from America. We're not going to be gone forever, you know. We'll be back here for Christmas.
Yes, of course. Back for Christmas. I'd forgotten.
Well, try to remember it. And if you can't do that, just do as I tell you. I've been making the plans in this house for 20 years, and if there's any digging to be done, I'll manage that as well. You understand, Herbert?
Yes, Hermione.
Good. You have just 20 minutes to clean this mess up down here and keep your appointment at the barber's. And when you finish there, I want you to come straight home.
Why, I wanted to stop at Miss Markham's and pick up some books I ordered.
Well, all right. But don't loiter there the whole afternoon, browsing over those old books the way you usually do. Now hurry and clear up this rubbish. Get rid of that smelly stuff. And no more digging, mind you.
Yes, Hermione. Yes, Hermione. How many years have I been saying that? 10 years, 15, 20? Clear up the rubbish. Yes, Hermione. Don't forget your umbrella. Yes, Hermione. Do this, do that. Yes, Hermione. Yes, yes, yes. How much longer can I stand this?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Miss Markham.
Why, it's Professor Carpenter, isn't it?
You didn't recognize me.
Oh, you look ever so much younger without the beard. 20 years at least.
20 years.
Oh, you'll be glad to know those books you ordered have finally arrived.
Books?
Phytotomy of phalloid gametophytes and coniferous shrubs of North America. Those are the ones you ordered, aren't they?
Oh, yes. Thank you. You're very kind, Miss Markham.
Why kind, Professor Carpenter?
Well, not many young ladies in bookshops would go out of their way to look up rare books for an old professor of botany.
Oh, why, you're not old, Professor Carpenter. Really, you look... Oh, and besides, I adore botany. It's my particular hobby.
Oh, really? Well, you never told me that before, Miss Markham.
Oh, I was afraid to. You were so imposing with a beard and all.
Well, You might be interested in some specimens of alpine polyanthes that were sent to me by a friend in Switzerland.
Switzerland? I used to go there for my holidays before the war.
You like Switzerland?
Oh, I love every part of it. The lakes, the mountains, the beautiful spring flowers. Oh, especially the flowers.
Oh, yes. It seems we have quite a lot in common, Miss Markham. I'm sorry we haven't talked before.
Oh, I am too. It is all the fault of the beard, I suppose.
Miss Markham, forgive me if this sounds foolish, but I feel that shaving off my beard is the most important thing I've done for 20 years.
Oh, it is. I'm sure it is. I'm ashamed that I've been so distant with you all the time. Oh, there were times when I almost spoke up. Times when you came in here, tired after a day with your students at the university. Oh, you seemed so alone. The way I'm alone in the world. I'd like to have asked you to stay a while and talk with me. But some way or other, I wound up giving you your change and letting you go on your way.
You say you're all alone in the world?
Since my father died.
Well, did you never think of marrying?
My father was a very remarkable man. I never found anyone who seemed to measure up to what he led me to expect of men. And then the war came.
Miss Markham,
It's been so long since anyone called me by my first name. I'd like you to, if you don't mind. It's Marion.
Marion.
And yours?
Herbert.
How long have you been alone, Herbert?
Alone?
Oh, I knew you were a widower, of course, the first time I saw you.
A widower?
Oh, I can always tell. There's a certain sadness in a man's eyes. A sweet sadness, I think, when he's been married and then...
A widower? I never thought of it in quite that way.
Oh, perhaps I shouldn't be talking like this. But I've often wondered what she must have been like. Your wife, I mean.
Hermione? Not an easy woman to forget. Very strong, always managing things. The house, my wardrobe, my friends. When we dined at a restaurant, she even ordered my food. She was always managing things. You might say she managed herself to death.
Oh, poor woman. She must have loved you very much. But she needn't have put herself out so. It's plain to see you don't need things managed for you. You need companionship, I think. Someone sympathetic with your work. But the last thing on earth you need is a manager.
How well you put it. The last thing on earth. That's the first time I thought of it, of course. But suddenly a whole new world opened up before my eyes. Marion and America and no more of Hermione's planning my life for me. By the time I got home, my mind was working overtime.
Well, at last. You certainly took long enough about it. What are you looking so pleased about?
I don't really know. Getting rid of the beard, perhaps. I feel 20 years younger.
You look even smaller. Your face looks triangular or something. I'd forgotten your chin was so weak. Oh, but never mind that. You can grow it back soon enough, after Christmas. Where are you going?
Down to the cellar. I just bought this electric lantern, and I thought I'd put it away down there.
Now, whatever possessed you to buy a thing like that?
I don't know. I rather like this lantern. Might come in handy. Who knows?
Now, Herbert, don't start digging down there again. I've 100 things to do putting the house in order before we leave. I want you to carry these boxes upstairs for me.
Yes, Hermione.
And if you're going down to the cellar, take this along and stuff it into the furnace.
But this is my old bathrobe. I may need it.
Oh, nonsense. I bought you a new one. Get rid of it. And don't start puttering down there with that devil's garden or whatever you call it.
I'm through digging, my dear. I think the pit is quite deep enough now for my devil's garden. It would all have to be carefully planned, of course. Just as carefully planned as Hermione was planning the trip to America. We both went about our respective engagements as the days passed. I spent all the time I could with Marion, and finally she consented. And then it was the last day, the big day, the day we were to sail for America.
Operator! Operator, are you there? I'm still waiting on that call to Salisbury. Oh, well, put them on quickly. Hello? Is this Paul Holt & Sons? Mrs. Herbert Carpenter here. Did you receive my letter? Oh, good. Now remember, we'll be back for Christmas, and I want the job done without fail. What's that? Oh, no, I'm sure he doesn't suspect anything. Send the bill to me in New York as I instructed you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, there you are, Herbert. Where have you been?
Backstairs. I dismissed the servants.
Dismissed the servants? But I've asked some friends in to a farewell tea. Go and tell them it's a mistake.
I'm afraid it's too late now. They've packed and gone.
Oh, you have messed up things properly. How many times have I told you to leave things to me? I make the plans around here.
Yes, Hermione.
You'll have to do better than this when I plan the trip home, or we'll never in the world be back for Christmas.
Back for Christmas, back for Christmas. Must you keep saying that?
Well, why not? We are coming back for Christmas, aren't we?
Supposing I were offered a professorship in one of those wealthy American universities.
Nonsense. Americans care nothing for botany.
Luther Burbank was an American.
Well, that's different. What have you ever done except muck around in the dirt with a lot of roots and tubers?
They've asked me to lecture. That means something.
Of course they asked you to lecture. Americans are paid to hear any foreigner deliver a lecture once. Now, there's no use getting yourself in a state about this, Herbert. No doubt this extra money will come in very handy when we arrive back for Christmas. Precisely. And it's no good you're making a joke of it. Heaven knows where you'd be today if I hadn't got a sense of time.
Yes, my dear Hermione.
And since you've been so foolish as to dismiss the servants, you may empty the ashtrays and straighten up this room while we're waiting for the guests to arrive. I'm going upstairs to change. Call me when they get here.
Yes, Hermione. Yes, Hermione. Yes, Hermione. For 20 years, Hermione, always so right. Thought of everything. Well, not quite everything. She's dressing now. Safe to call Marion. Oh, if Marion were to change her mind now. If she had any idea I was not a widower. Hello? Hello? Marion? Herbert? No, my darling. Nothing's wrong. My plans are the same. Unless you've changed. Good. We'll meet in New York as we planned. Yes, I do love you, my darling.
Herbert?
I'm sorry, I can't talk any longer. Yes, I'll meet you in New York a week from tomorrow without fail. Goodbye till then.
Herbert, were you talking on the phone just now?
Yes, Hermione.
Whoever was it?
Freddie Sinclair, of course.
Oh, didn't I hear you say something about meeting somebody in New York?
Why, yes. Old Freddie said he might possibly get out to America before we leave, and I said, of course, we'd meet him there if he decides to go.
That seems very peculiar. But then all of your friends are peculiar.
Yes, Hermione.
And just look at your jacket. Have you been digging in that cellar again?
Yes, Hermione.
Well, there's no need for it. You can't possibly get that Devil's Garden thing finished. Go and change your clothes before the guests arrive.
Yes, Hermione.
Oh, never mind. I see somebody coming up the walk now. Go and let them in.
Yes, Hermione.
Herbert.
Yes, my dear.
Look out the window. There's Professor and Mrs. Hewitt. But who's that with them?
Why,
Precisely. Freddie Sinclair. Peculiar. You should have been talking to him on the phone not 3 minutes ago. And now here he is.
Yes, isn't it? But then, as you say, Hermione, all of my friends are peculiar.
Not half so peculiar as you. Digging in the cellar an hour before we leave for America. Just look at yourself. And now that I think of it...
Yes, Hermione?
Oh, never mind. Go and let them in.
You were going to ask me something, Hermione. But the hole I'm digging in the cellar.
Oh, good heavens. Stop rolling your eyes about that way. One would think you were digging a grave down there instead of a storage bin.
Yes, Hermione.
What's that?
I said yes, Hermione.
Oh, bother. Open the door and stop saying yes, Hermione.
I think, my dear, I've said it for the last time. Back for Christmas. Hermione was so positive we would be back for Christmas. That last afternoon, pouring tea for a few friends who had come in to say last-minute farewells, she kept reiterating.
Oh, I promise you, Mrs. Hewitt.
Remember, we absolutely must have you with us for Christmas.
Oh, we'll be back.
It's not absolutely certain, of course.
Herbert, what do you mean it's not certain? Of course it's certain.
After all, Herbert, old boy, you've contracted to lecture for only 3 months.
Quite right, but then, of course, anything may happen.
Oh, Herbert adores being unpredictable. Now, what other man would dig a great hole in the cellar on the very day he was leaving for America?
A hole in the cellar?
Yes. He's going to put some unclassified wild orchids down there. A devil's garden, if you please. Sounds mysterious. That's Herbert, though he's really quite simple once you find out what he's up to. Now take that telephone call he put through to you a few moments before you arrived, Freddie.
To me?
Yes. Herbert wanted to surprise me about your plan to meet us in New York next month. That's why he called, of course, to ask you not to mention it.
But, my dear Hermione, Herbert couldn't possibly have telephoned me within the past hour. I've been walking in the park since 3.
He didn't telephone you?
Well, how could he? And as for my going to America...
Oh, now, come, Freddie. You may as well own up. Hermione has found me out again.
But, Herbert, old chap, I really don't understand.
There. You see what a poor liar Herbert makes. He's red as a beetroot.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself, Professor, stringing poor Hermione along like that? And as for you, Freddie, I'm furious you said nothing to us about going to America.
But look here, old girl, I've been trying to tell everyone that I have
Oh, stuff and nonsense. The game's gone on long enough. Perhaps Herbert's merely planning a surprise for me.
Yes, let's leave it at that, my dear.
Well, we must start getting ready. It was marvelous of you to come in to say goodbye. And don't worry about Herbert's little jokes. I will bring him back for Christmas. You may rely on it.
They all believed her. For years, she'd been promising me for dinner parties, garden parties, committees. And the promises had always been kept. This time they wouldn't be. I'd seen to that. The servants were gone for good, the farewells all said. I had timed to the minute how long it would take to fill in the hole in the cellar, in my devil's garden. Upstairs in the bedroom I undressed, folded my clothes over a chair and put on my old bathrobe. Then I opened the door into Hermione's room.
Are you ready, Herbert?
Hermione, have you a moment to spare?
Of course, my dear, I've just finished.
Then do come in here for a moment. There's something rather extraordinary here.
Good heavens, Herbert, what are you lounging about in that filthy old bathrobe for?
I told you to put it into the furnace.
I shall do it today, yes. I really will, I promise.
Well, high time. Now, what is it you want to show me?
In the bathroom here. Just look. Who in the world do you suppose dropped a gold chain down the bathtub drain?
Nobody has, of course. Nobody wears such a thing in this house.
Then what's it doing there?
I don't see anything.
Here. I'll hold this flashlight for you. If you lean right over, you can see it shining deep down.
Oh, such a lot of nonsense. Just whisper. I don't see it, Herbert.
Go on looking, Hermione. In just a moment.
Herbert, I absolutely refuse to wait. Herbert, what are you doing? Take your hands off my neck.
I will, Hermione, just as soon as I've finished the arrangements for my trip to America.
What are you talking about?
You thought you were the only one who could plan things, didn't you, Hermione? Well, I've been making some plans of my own this past week. In exactly 2 minutes, you'll be dead, Hermione. You see, 2 minutes. I've planned it very accurately.
You'll never get away with it. Let me go.
I thought you'd say that, but I will get away with it. You won't mind the smell of the leaf mold down in the cellar when I take you there today. Yes, that's where you're going, Hermione. Into my devil's garden that annoyed you so much.
Oh.
The soil is full of clay. It won't settle too much. In a month or so, it won't even look as if it had been dug up.
My friends, they all expect me back for Christmas. If they don't hear from me, they'll wonder. And if I don't come back, they'll start asking questions.
Oh, no, they won't. Because you'll write them letters, Hermione, on the typewriter, as you always do. They'll be signed H in that neat, cryptic way you always sign your notes to your friends.
Let me up.
No.
It won't work, Herbert. You never were any good at planning things.
Oh, but I've changed, my dear. I've learned from watching you all these years.
The lecture people in America, they'll expect you to be traveling with your wife.
I will be traveling with my wife, but her name will not be Hermione. Fortunately, they'd never met you. I write a few letters home for you, then fewer and fewer. Write letters signed with my own name, always expecting to get back, but never quite able to. Keep the house 1 year, and then another and another. They'll get used to it. I might even come back alone in a year or two and clear it up properly. Say you died in America. Nobody will ever suspect you're lying under the floor of the cellar in this very house.
Oh, but it won't work, I tell you. That pit you dug in the cellar,
I can assure you, my dear Hermione, it will serve its purpose well. Sorry, my dear. I've got to get this done on schedule. You have just 5 seconds to say your prayers.
Oh, but you must listen. The cellar. Don't do it, Herbert. Herbert! Oh.
Hey! The water cut off at the main as I knew she would order it. She was so thorough, but so was I. Strangulation. Nothing to wash up. The electric current shut off exactly at 1 o'clock, just as she ordered it. She thought of everything. So did I. My nice new electric lantern, plenty of light to work by in the cellar. The old bathrobe she wanted me to throw away came in handy now if there should be any chance bloodstain. Then into the fire with it afterwards, the last evidence of my devil's garden. It was going well. Still an hour till I had to leave for the boat. The hold was almost filled. No. Oh, no, not now. Go away, please. Whoever you are, go away. Did I lock the front door? If it's the Wallingfords... Oh, no, no. Go away. Go away.
I say, Herbert, old thing.
Woohoo, Hermione!
Just keep calm, quiet. They won't look down in the cellar. Keep calm. They'll go away.
Where the dickens can they be?
Oh, the car's there.
Maybe they popped round to the dells.
Oh, it must be.
Oh, the shops, maybe. Something at the last minute.
Oh, not Hermione.
Shall I shout?
Oh, don't. Might not be tactful.
No harm in a shout, my love.
No, let's come in on our way back. Hermione said they wouldn't leave till 7.
Oh, all right. Only I want a last drink with old Herbert. He'd be hurt, you know.
All right, let's hurry. We can be back by 6:30.
6:30. There's still time. After that, it was easy. Put the finishing touches on the Devil's Garden, dress fast, get out of the house before 6:30, take the boat trade to Southampton and board the ship for America. All according to plan. Hermione's plan. I say, Stuart.
Right, sir?
My wife is indisposed. She'll be taking her meals in our stateroom.
Oh, for the old voyage?
Yes, for the whole voyage.
Well, I trust your wife is feeling better this morning, Professor Carpenter.
Yes, a little. Not yet well enough to leave her cabin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, by the way, here's a copy of the radiogram you sent for your wife last evening.
Oh? Oh, thank you. I'll just check it over. I say, look here.
What is it? Did the typist make a mistake?
No. No, nothing important. She can correct it later. For a moment, I had the feeling that Hermione had been leaning over my shoulder again, correcting what I'd written, as she always did. I had written a radiogram to Professor Hewitt and his wife. Haven't been out of my cabin the whole beastly trip. Herbert well. We now doubt we will be back for Christmas. The copy read, we no doubt will be back for Christmas. Exactly what Hermione would have written. The rest of the voyage was uneventful, and Marian and I met in New York and were married just as we'd planned. Just as we'd planned. Professor and Mrs. Carpenter, we have reservations, I believe.
Oh, yes, we've been expecting you, sir. Boy, take Professor and Mrs. Carpenter's luggage up to their suite. You know, Mrs. Carpenter, you're quite a surprise. Your letter reserving the rooms was so thorough, I was expecting an older, more forbidding sort of person, frankly, ma'am.
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, we're just married. But my letter reserving the room.
I wrote the letter, my dear, and signed it Mrs. Herbert Carpenter. Purely a joke.
Oh, what a cunning old fox you are, Herbert.
Now that I think of it, I am, rather.
Oh, I almost forgot. There's a letter for you, Mrs. Carpenter.
A letter from me? I wonder who on earth...
Well, we shall find out in good time. Come along, my dear. We're keeping the boy waiting. Nothing like a cold, brisk shower to put a man to rights.
Herbert, this letter...
Oh, yes, the letter. Dry my hair, will you, dear?
It seems to be a bill of some sort. From a building contract in Salisbury. Oh, bother. Dry your own hair.
Oh, thank you, my sweet. Let's see this bill, or whatever it is.
It's very puzzling. Herbert.
Hmm?
You were a widower, weren't you? I mean, Hermione isn't still alive.
I can assure you she is not. Let's have that letter. Dear madam, this is to acknowledge your order, together with the key... Together with the keys to your house in Launceston Place. Our men had no difficulty in finding the place where your husband had begun the excavation in the cellar, but apparently changed his mind at the last moment and filled it in again. Oh, no.
What is it, Herbert?
Our men will begin digging tomorrow, and you may rest assured that it will be a professional job and will be completed in ample time for your surprise Christmas present to your husband. We are happy to be conspirators with you in this thoughtful gesture, and hope that Professor Carpenter will be pleased at the results of our work on what he so quaintly calls his Devil's Garden. Very truly yours, Paul Holt & Sons Contractors.
What does it mean, Herbert?
It means that Hermione was right. I will be back for Christmas.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Back for Christmas by John Collier. Adapted for radio by Robert Tallman, with Paul Frees as Herbert, Eleanor Audley as Hermione, and Marta Metrovich as Marion. Music is conceived and conducted by Cy Fuhrer. Next week...
You were lost in a London fog, exhausted and frantic, unsure if the figures looming around you are real or creatures of your fear. And behind you, pursuing you, intent on killing you, lurks a murderer from whom you must escape.
Next week, we escape with Elgin & Blackwood's ghostly story, Confession. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler, written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Copen, and starring two of radio's foremost personalities, Leon Janney and Ann Shepard, in Christmas Story.
is the mysterious traveler inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as we hear the tale of an enterprising young man. It's the drama I call Christmas Story.
The name is Steve Farrell, and I've just gotten through playing Santa Claus. Yeah, you're looking at a guy who really played it to the hilt. It all started last month in Seattle. I was out of a job and down to my last few bucks. I was looking through the morning paper when I noticed this small ad in the personal column. Driving to New York, November 15th. Man wanted to assist in driving. Free transportation. Paul Harris, Hotel Royal. Well, I'd always wanted to see New York, and this was as good as any way of getting there, so I went up to this Hotel Royal to see this guy, Harris. Mr. Harris?
Yes?
My name's Farrell, Steve Farrell. I read your ad in the morning paper.
Oh, yes. Won't you come in?
Thank you. If you haven't already found someone to help you drive to New York, I'd like to offer my services.
Well, as a matter of fact, I haven't. Can you leave for New York a day after tomorrow?
Sure, anytime.
Well, good. Then why not come around at 9 in the morning and we'll get off to an early start?
Okay, Mr. Harris, 9 it is. Let me know when you're tired driving, Mr. Harris, and I'll take over.
Thanks, I will. Why not call me Paul, huh?
Okay. Steve is my first name. Lewiston, 30 miles.
Lewiston, that's Idaho, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just crossing the state line into Idaho.
Oh, this is all new to me. I was born and raised in Alaska. This is my first trip to the States.
Well, you're going to see a lot of scenery between here and New York.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Life must have been pretty rugged in Alaska.
Oh, it was. My parents were homesteaders. I never saw a city until a week ago when I arrived in Seattle.
How come you're going to New York?
Well, my parents died last year, and my grandfather, whom I've never seen, wrote asking me to come visit him.
You never seen him, huh?
No. No, there was some sort of squabble between my parents and my grandfather before I was born, and they went to Alaska. And in all the years since then, my grandfather never wrote to them.
Sounds like a stubborn guy.
Yeah, he sure does. What are you going to New York for?
Oh, mainly to look for a job. And I've always wanted to see the big city.
So have I. Do you mind taking over now, Steve? My eyes are getting tired.
Be glad to. Just pull over to the side of the road. It's a long way from Seattle to New York. And there wasn't a radio on the car, so we just talked. And mostly we talked about Paul, his life in Alaska, his parents, his grandfather. By the time we hit Columbus, Ohio, there wasn't a thing I didn't know about the guy. And from what he told me, his grandfather was loaded. And even more, he was the old man's only relative. It was obvious the kid was walking into a fortune. Yeah, some guys had all the luck.
So these are the Allegheny Mountains.
Yeah. Better take it easy, Paul. The road's a little slippery.
Okay. How much further to New York?
250 miles. It's getting dark. You better stop for the night at the next tourist court.
All right. Oh, we should be able to make New York by tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, easy.
What are you going to do when we get there, Steve?
Oh, start hunting for a job.
Look, Steve, why don't you come to my grandfather's house with me? I'm sure he won't mind putting you up for a few nights.
Oh, thanks, kid, but don't worry about me. I'll be all right.
Steve, I don't want to lose track of you. I thought we were friends.
Sure we are. As soon as I get located, I'll let you know where I am.
You know, I thought this being your first visit to New York and mine, we might see the town together. You know, the Statue of Liberty, the
Statue
Empire.
of Liberty? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, while we're the same age, I'm afraid I haven't been around very much. I guess it's like you said. I'm strictly from the woods.
Just 1 year in New York and you'll be hep to everything. Your eyes bothering you?
Yeah, a little.
You better let me take over when you get to the bottom of this mountain.
Okay.
You know, you ought to see an eye doctor. Your eyes seem to get tired awful quick.
Well, the truth of the matter
Hey,
is...
look out, kid. We're starting to skid. No, don't jam on the brakes. That only makes it worse. Now, reverse your wheel.
I am. Steve, we're skidding off the road toward the mountain.
Give me that wheel and do as I say.
We're out of control. We're going over.
When I regained consciousness, I was lying a few feet from the car. We'd rolled 300 feet down the side of the mountain, and the car was completely wrecked. I crawled to my feet and felt for broken bones. Other than a bad gash on my head and the mass of bruises, I was okay. I limped the few feet to the overturned car and looked in. Paul was still behind the wheel. Even before I reached for his pulse, I had a feeling he was dead. Paul's luck had run out. He'd never see all that dough that was waiting for him in New York. Yeah, it was then that it came to me. I hadn't wished the guy dead, but now that he was, and nobody in the States knew Paul or what he looked like, and on the other hand, I knew everything about him. Well, it was a gamble, all right, but there was a fortune in the kitty. I went to work switching our clothes and all identification. Just as I finished, a state police patrol car came along the mountain road and spotted the wreck. They took me to headquarters, where I made a complete statement. A couple of hours later, I grabbed a train for New York.
Paul, I'm George Marlowe, your grandfather's attorney.
How do you do, Mr. Marlowe?
The Pennsylvania State Police informed me of the dreadful accident you had. I understand a man who was with you was killed.
Yes, a fellow by the name of Steve Farrell. I met him in Seattle. He assisted me with the driving.
Too bad, but thank heavens it wasn't you. It would have been your grandfather's death blow.
How is he?
Weak, very weak, but eagerly waiting to see you. All right, come along.
Yes, sir.
How's that gash on your head?
Oh, not too bad. It was treated by a doctor at the state police headquarters.
Look, you can only spend a few minutes with your grandfather, and excitement must be avoided by all means.
I understand.
And here we are. How is he, Joan?
He's much better this afternoon.
Good. Joan, this is Paul Harris. Paul Joan Dietrich, your grandfather's nurse.
How do you do?
Hello.
Paul. Is that you, Paul?
Yes, sir.
Come over here where I can see you.
Yes, grandfather.
So, you're Paul, my grandson.
Yes, sir.
Sit down by my bed. Let me look at you.
All right, grandfather.
You don't look like your mother. Must take after your father's side of the family.
Yes, I do.
That bandage. What happened, Paul?
Well, I was in an accident, but it's nothing, just a scratch.
You're sure?
Yes, of course.
I suppose you're wondering why I sent for you after all these years. Cutting off your mother, father.
Does it matter now? The main thing is, I'm here.
Lying here for months, I've had a great deal of time to think things over. I was wrong, Paul. Your mother, she had a perfect right to marry anyone she wished. It was only my stubbornness that prevented the reconciliation.
We all make mistakes.
Yes, but 30 years of not seeing my own flesh and blood. It's been lonely, Paul. So lonely. And all my fault.
But you're not alone anymore. I'm here.
Yes, Paul, yes. What little time I have left, we must spend together.
I think that's enough for now, Mr. Marshall. Paul can come and see you later, after your nap.
Just a few more minutes, John.
After your nap.
Oh, she's a wonderful girl, Paul. But a tyrant. Come see me as soon as I'm awake.
All right, Grandfather.
Now let me fix your pillows for you.
Just your being here seems to have helped him, Paul.
What do the doctors say, Mr. Marlowe?
Week, month, several months at the outside.
That bad, huh?
Yes. Well, you must be tired after your trip. I had your suitcase taken to your room. Do you have any other luggage on the way?
There's a small trunk coming, but it won't be here for weeks.
If you need any money, just let me know. Your grandfather's placed a considerable sum at your disposal.
Thanks. But I still have 2,000 left of the 5,000 he sent me.
Very well, Paul. Remember, if there's anything at all you want, just let me know.
Yeah, I was in. There was no question that I'd passed as Paul Harris. Why not? I had all the answers, and I was playing it careful. I walked through room after room of that Fifth Avenue mansion, knowing that within a matter of months it would be mine. In the weeks that followed, not a day passed, and I didn't spend a few hours with the old man. He liked me, I could see that. And the funny thing is, I liked him, too. During our little chats, there were times I felt I was his grandson. And sitting in at these little sessions, not saying much, just watching with those gray eyes of hers with Joan Dietrich. She was one lovely dish. And I could feel things building between us. Whenever she got an evening off, we went out together. Having a good time?
Wonderful. I love dancing. Why, Mr. Harris, what are we doing out here on the terrace? The music's in there.
Too many people in there. You know, if you don't make a pass at me soon, I'm going to get discouraged.
Ours is a short acquaintance. 3 weeks.
What's the time got to do with it? The day I walked into my grandfather's room, first saw you, you knew this moment would come.
Oh,
I feel the same way, baby. So I was flying. Love me?
you know I do.
And why the tears?
Oh, I do love you. And I want to believe in you, but I'm so confused. So confused.
About what? Go on. I want to hear.
Are you really Paul Harris?
What makes you ask that?
In your talks with Mr. Marshall, several things you said seemed strange.
Such as?
Your grandfather spoke of a restaurant in San Francisco, and you said you knew it. Yet if you are Paul Harris, how could you not? Paul Harris has never been to San Francisco.
I might have taken in San Francisco on the way to New York, you know. What else bothers you?
You mentioned the television show you'd seen 6 months ago. There is no television in Alaska. If you're Paul Harris, how could you have seen it?
People up in Alaska see kinescopes of television shows, baby. They're shown like movies.
Oh, darling, just tell me I'm wrong. That's all I wanted to hear.
I wish I could tell you I'm Paul Harris. But I'm not.
You're not?
No. The name is Farrell. Steve Farrell.
Steve Farrell? Wasn't that the fellow that was killed in that... It was Paul Harris who was killed. You changed identity.
Yes.
Well, how could you? How could you?
I was tired of being broke, of going from one lousy job to another. I saw a chance to grab a fortune and took it. What are you going to do?
I should go to the police. I can't. Mr. Marshall thinks you're his grandson. He's extremely fond of you. If the truth were to come out, it would kill him.
Is that the only reason you can't go to the police?
Oh, Steve, what are we going to do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's right. I'm going on being Paul Harris until the old man dies. Then I'm taking the estate.
You can't, Steve. You can't.
Why not? While the old man's alive, I'm making him happy. If I get his estate when he dies, who loses by it? It isn't as though he has other relatives. Why shouldn't I get it?
No, it's wrong, Steve. It's wrong.
It's wrong only if you're caught, baby. Only if you're caught. Hello, baby. What you doing up here on the roof?
Just getting a little fresh air while Mr. Marshall sleeps.
How is he?
He can't last more than a few days.
Who you crying for? The old man? Or me?
Both of you. Oh, Steve, ever since the other night when you told me, I haven't been able to think of anything else. It's wrong, Steve. It's so wrong.
Who am I hurting if I get the estate? I deserve it if anyone does. At least I'm making the old man happy in his last hours.
What if you're caught? Do you realize they'd send you to prison?
That's the chances you take, baby. Besides, who's going to get wise to me?
There's Mr. Marlowe, and he's nobody's fool. Just one little slip, Steve, and he'll be on to you.
Marlowe's a sharp citizen, all right, but I don't intend to make that one slip. Oh.
Someone's coming up onto the roof.
Hello, you two. Thought I'd find you up here.
Hello.
How are you, Mr. Marlowe?
Right well, thank you. I understand Mr. Marshall's asleep.
Yes, I left Mrs. Walker to look after him. He should be waking up soon.
Maybe we better go down. My grandfather had... Oh!
What's the matter?
Something in your eye, Paul?
Yes, it's a cinder.
Oh, left eye, huh?
Yes.
Well, stop rubbing it. Put your handkerchief over it.
Hmm.
That's it.
Stings like the devil.
Go on over and sit on the chair. And I'll try to take it out for you.
You want me to assist you to the chair?
No, I can still walk.
Now sit down and tilt your head back.
Hmm.
That's it. Take the handkerchief away. Oh, I see it. Hold still. There. I got it.
Thanks, John.
I think we'd better go down now.
Yeah, okay.
You coming, Mr. Marlowe?
What? Oh, yes. I'm coming.
Mrs. Walker said that Mr. Marshall was asleep when she looked in on him a few minutes ago.
Seems he's still sleeping.
Perhaps we'd better leave and wait until he wakens.
No. I'm going to wake him. It's time for his medicine. Mr. Marshall? Mr. Marshall? Time for your medicine. Mr. Marshall?
What is it, Joan?
There's no pulse.
Are you sure?
Yes. He's dead.
Well, at least the end came peacefully. He died in his sleep.
Joan took the old man's death hard, and I felt pretty upset myself, even with all that dough waiting. As for Marlowe, he was his usual efficient self, looking after all the details of the funeral. Maybe it was the tension I was under, but Marlowe seemed changed to me. He wasn't quite so friendly. And sometimes I turned to find him watching me, giving me the cold eye. I couldn't be sure whether it was my imagination or not. After we got back from the funeral, I was in my room when there was a knock on the door. Come in. Oh, hello, Joan. Come in.
Mr. Marlowe's downstairs in the library. Wants to see you.
Close the door.
Anything wrong?
Plenty.
Whose trunk is that you're going through?
Paul's. It arrived this morning while we were at the funeral.
Steve, what's wrong?
I've just been going through some of Paul's personal papers. I knew, of course, that he was 4F in the draft, but I never knew why.
What are you trying to tell me?
Paul was 4F in the draft because he was blind in the right eye.
Blind in the right eye?
Yes. That's why I've been getting the cold shoulder from Marlowe these past 3 days, ever since the afternoon we were on the roof.
I don't understand.
Somehow Marlowe knew that Paul was blind in the right eye, and when I got that cinder in my left eye, I covered it with my handkerchief. You told me to walk across the roof to the chair, sit down.
Yes, I remember.
At that point, Marlowe offered to lead me to the chair.
Knowing you were blind in the right eye and had your left eye covered with a handkerchief.
Yes. When I walked over to the chair without hesitation, that must have started him thinking.
Oh, Steve.
Now, don't get panicky, baby. Marlowe can't be sure he's right. At the moment, he's just suspicious.
But if he really investigates...
I've got to kill the suspicion in his mind. Stop him from doing any checking.
But how?
I don't know yet. But come on, he's waiting for us in the library. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Marlowe.
That's quite all right.
If you'll excuse me,
No,
I'll go...
Joan, don't go. No reason why you shouldn't hear what I have to say. Tomorrow, Christmas Day, I'll officially read Mr. Marshall's will. However, I don't think I'm violating a trust in telling you the contents of the will. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Marshall had me draw up a new will, leaving his entire estate to you, Paul.
I see.
He was quite taken by you, felt that you were a credit to his name. Why are you crying, Joan?
Nothing.
As administrator of Mr. Marshall's will, it is my duty to see to it that the heirs, or heir, receive their just inheritances. This duty I shall fulfill.
I understand.
I am responsible under law for the awarding of the huge estate left by Mr. Marshall. I shall have to... Is your eye troubling you? You've been doing nothing but rubbing it since you came into this room.
Sorry, Mr. Marlowe. As you know, I'm blind in my right eye, and now and then my left eye feels quite strained, particularly at a time like this. My grandfather's death, the funeral. You understand?
Right. Yes. Yes, of course.
You were saying?
What? Oh, well, it's not important at the moment. I'll be here tomorrow at 3 for the reading of the will.
See to it that all the servants are here.
Very well. Good night, Joan. Paul?
Good night, Mr. Marlowe.
Good night.
Steve, he's confused. That business of the eye, he doesn't know what to think now.
Yeah, it stopped him for the moment.
But only for a moment.
Hard to tell. But I've got to do something once and for all to convince him I'm Paul Harris. Now, I didn't get to sleep that night. I just tossed and turned, trying to come up with an angle that would kill Marlowe's suspicions. Maybe that business of rubbing my eyes had satisfied him, but I had to make sure. It was a difference between being handed a fortune and a prison sentence. This afternoon at 3 o'clock, the servants, Joan, Marlowe, and myself gathered in the library. The whole thing was over in an hour. The servants all congratulated me and left the library, leaving only the 3 of us there.
I should like to offer a toast to Mr. Marshall's memory, if you'll permit me.
Of course.
This was his favorite cherry. Joan?
Thank you.
Paul?
Thanks.
Here's to Peter Marshall, a man who lived honorably, died honorably. May his heir be worthy of him.
As the 3 of us raised our glasses to our lips and drank, I could see Marlowe watching me over the brim of his glass with those cold blue eyes of his. We set down our glasses, and I turned to give Joan a cigarette. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Marlowe pick up one of the 3 wine glasses. Suddenly, I realized it was my glass he picked up. He held it casually, almost as if he didn't know he was holding it. In that moment, I was going nuts, trying to guess whether he was satisfied that I was Paul Harris or he was still suspicious and going after me. My fingerprints were on that glass, and the Army had a copy of those prints in Washington. This was it. Either I play nice and go for the fortune or throw in my hand. Suddenly, I felt Joan's hand in mine. Say, Mr. Marlowe.
Yes?
You say this will, leaving me my grandfather's estate, is a new one.
Yes, I drew it up only 2 weeks ago.
What was the old will like?
Well, under the old will, your grandfather's estate went to charity.
I thought as much. Mr. Marlowe, Joan and I have been talking things over. I don't want the estate. I want it all to go to charity. as originally intended.
Gee me, I seem to have dropped my glass. You realize, of course, what you would be giving up.
I never really had it, Mr. Marlowe, so I hardly think I'll miss it. Joan and I'll get along, won't we, baby?
Oh, yes.
Well, Paul, is that your considered decision?
It is.
It's a gesture worthy of Peter Marshall's grandson.
Yes, and that little gesture did it. Any guy who gives up a $2 million estate can hardly be called an imposter, can he? No, sir. It's Christmas, and I've just played Santa Claus to the tune of $2 million. The thing I keep wondering about is, what would have happened if I hadn't given up the estate? Would Marlowe have gone after me? Or was he satisfied that I was Paul Harris? Yes, sir. That little puzzle is going to give me plenty of thought for a long time to come.
This is the mysterious traveler again. Did you enjoy our trip? Well, what happened to Paul Harris? Or rather, I should say, Steve Farrell. He and Joan were married, and the poor fellow's now working at an honest living. Yes, sometimes he thinks of the $2 million estate he gave up. But then with taxes what they are, what could he have kept in any case? Only a fortune. Which reminds me of a story in which another enterprising young man allowed himself to be killed for the sake of acquiring wood. Oh, you'll have to get off here. I'm sorry. But allow me to wish you a Merry Christmas before you go. And remember, I take this same train every week at this same time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler. Now you can enjoy other tense and exciting tales of The Mysterious Traveler in the current issue of The Mysterious Traveler magazine, now available. In our cast were Leon Janney, Ann Shepard, and Lawson Zerbe, with Maurice Tarplin starred in the title role. Music under the direction of Emerson Buckley, composed by Richard DuPage. The Mysterious Traveler is written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Cogan. On this Christmas night, 1951, we send special greetings to Mutual's affiliate in San Antonio, Texas, radio station KMAC. Today, KMAC celebrates its 25th anniversary. Best wishes, KMAC, and congratulations. Phil Tonkin speaking. This program came to you from New York.
Let every go signal remind you that you do go farther with Signal gasoline. The Signal Oil Program. The Signal Oil Company and your neighborhood Signal dealer bring you another curious story by The Whistler. Tonight, Lie or Consequences.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales, many secrets hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Presently I'll tell you of nameless terrors of which they dare not speak. Within the human character, the line between good and evil is a thin and waving one. And very often the one small impulse for good will outweigh and nullify the bad. Such was the case with Michael Cobb. Mike wasn't bad, really. It happened while he was a kid, before he knew any better. He'd gotten into trouble, gone to prison, served a stretch. Now he's out, and he's learned his lesson. He's proving that. He's going straight, working hard at his job in the office of a large department store, He's married to a girl he loves, and he's happy.
Delicious. Delicious. Oh, nobody can cook a better breakfast than you, darling.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mike, don't bolt your coffee.
I gotta run. I'll be late.
Well, a couple of minutes won't make any difference.
Well, maybe not most days, but today is going to be a big one. The last shopping day before Christmas, you know. Stores will be jammed. We'll be swamped with work until late tonight. Besides, I don't want to spoil my record. 6 months and I haven't been late to work once.
I know. It's fine. I'm sure the store appreciates it.
Yeah, Lane, I think they do, too. I really think they like me down there. You know, like my work and everything.
Oh, sure, Mike. How could they help liking you?
No, I mean, well, I'm beginning to feel like all that stuff is all forgotten. Almost like something that never happened.
It is. It is forgotten, Mike. Everything's different now.
Yeah, it is. Oh, this is going to be a lot different Christmas than the last one, isn't it?
Yes, Mike.
You were wonderful, Elaine. Coming to see me, sticking by me. Oh, darling, I promise you there'll never be another Christmas like that. Never.
I know there won't, Mike. From now on, they're all going to be really Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you bet. Oh, gosh, that reminds me. I haven't got your presents yet. I'll have to run out my lunch hour and find something.
Now, Mike, you're not going to go spending a lot of money on me. Oh, maybe next year we'll be more on our feet.
No, never you mind. I'll get you what I darn please. Oh, my gosh. Now, I will be late if I don't run.
Hey, here's your hat.
Oh, thanks. Well, goodbye, darling. If I don't get home before midnight, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, it looks like a Merry Christmas for you at last, doesn't it, Mike? For the first time in your life, almost. A real Merry Christmas. You notice the smiles on people's faces as they walk down the street. You get sort of a kick out of the fancy red and green draped windows of the store. The holly smells good in the elevator. And you chuckle as you pass the toy department with a perspiring Santa Claus pulling on his red coat. Then into the office, everybody smiling. Yeah, you know what, Mike? Maybe you're getting that thing they call the Christmas spirit.
Well, morning, George. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Mike. Pretty cheerful this morning, aren't you?
Oh, why not? It's almost Christmas, the day of good cheer. Well, what's the matter with you, sourpuss?
Nuts. Humboldt.
Uh-oh. The boss on the rampage again, huh? Well, what is it this time?
You haven't heard?
No, what?
Somebody lifted another $1,000 out of the receipts last night.
What, again?
Yeah. It makes about 10 grand that's been missing in the last 6 months.
Well, no wonder Mr. Humboldt's upset.
The detectives are in there with him right now, and they've got old Gus, a night watchman, in for questioning. I suppose we'll all be on the carpet like the last time.
Oh, gee, that's not so good. $10,000. Hey, that's grand larceny.
Yeah, and the cops are probably getting pretty sore about not pinning it on somebody. Now, look, here comes old Gus, fresh from the Inquisition.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Homburg.
Gus. Hey, Gus.
Yeah, Mr. Osborne?
Are they playing questions and answers in there again, Gus?
Yeah. Where was you this time? Where was you that time? The only time I got to sleep when they called me down here for this. What for would I want to steal money for? I got a wife. Fine wife. 4 kids. I steal money, I go to jail. They starve. What for would I steal?
Sure, Gus. But I know why you're so worked up about it.
Yeah?
You probably had to admit where you were last night between 12 and 1 o'clock.
How come you know that, where I was?
Go on. Everybody in the store knows that, Gus. It's a standing joke. Everybody knows you eat your lunch every morning between 12 and 1. They know you go up to the 13th floor and stretch out on one of those divans in the Louis the 15th room, the classiest in the joint.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? I got to eat. Why not in style?
Sure, only for that hour. Anybody could come in and move out the other 12 floors, and you'd never know it.
All right, so what? Maybe that is when somebody stole money. I do not know. I only know I did not steal. And this is the only time I got to sleep, when they have to go asking me questions.
What a character.
Hey, is that true about his breakfast from 12 to 1?
Sure. There's a night watchman for you.
That probably explains why they're so sure the thief is somebody inside the store. Somebody who knows about Gus and what time he won't be on this floor.
Yeah, it could be. Uh-oh, that's Humboldt. Yes, Mr. Humboldt. Yes. It's right away, sir. Just as I thought. It's my turn now. Well, if I start screaming, you'll know he's putting me on the rack.
Okay, I'll bring a branding iron to your rescue.
Don't laugh yet. You'll probably be next. If Humboldt really decides to catch a thief, he'll catch one by hook or crook.
Merry Christmas, Mike. Oh, now what's the matter? You don't seem as happy as you were. Something happened to dampen the Christmas spirit, maybe? Something you can't describe, can't even put your finger on? Just a funny, sinking feeling? Forget it. George Osborne has been in and out of Humboldt's office, and almost the whole day has gone by and nothing's happened. And everything seems to have calmed down. In fact, it's George's turn to have the Christmas spirit.
I really didn't expect it this year, but there it was in my pay envelope. Nice and crisp and green. With the best Christmas wishes of the J.C. Devers store.
Oh, gee, that's swell, George.
Yeah, real honest to gosh Christmas bonus. I can sure use it. Who couldn't? I don't know whether you'll get one or not, Mike. You've only been here 6 months. Then maybe. By the way, why don't you mosey in and pick up your pay? It's almost 9 o'clock. We close in 5 minutes.
Well, I guess I better wait for Mr. Humboldt to call me. Golly, I thought we'd get paid earlier. Still haven't bought Elaine's present.
Ah, well, don't worry. Most of the smaller stores will still be open for a couple of hours.
Yeah, sure. But I thought I'd get her something she liked real well, a little store up on 10th Avenue. Oh, well, it'll be open till late.
Say, I wonder if they found out anything about the 10 grand. Boy, they've really questioned everybody around, though.
They didn't question me. In fact, they've never questioned me about it. I don't quite understand that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I guess you got such an honest face or something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yes, Mr. Humboldt. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'll send him right in. Well, maybe we spoke too soon. He wants to see you.
Oh?
On the other hand, maybe he just wants to hand you your Christmas bonus in person. After all, you are getting to be the fair-haired boy around here these days.
I better go in.
You might even be in line for a promotion. You can't tell.
Okay. You wanted to see me, Mr. Humboldt?
Yes, yes, Cobb. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Cobb, you've been with us 6 months now.
Yes, sir?
And I must admit that in that time you've demonstrated an admirable aptitude for the work.
Thanks, Mr. Humboldt.
Yes, in fact, there's been some discussion of raising your salary, promoting you. I even talked to Mr. Prentice, the manager, about it myself.
Well, thanks, Mr. Humboldt.
Yes, and that's why I regret very much to tell you this. I must inform you that we're forced to dispense with your services as of tonight.
Dispense? You mean I'm fired?
I'm afraid that's it. Yeah, your 2 weeks' pay is in this envelope.
Wait a minute. If I'm been so good, why am I being fired?
I'm not at liberty to offer any explanations. I have my orders just the
It's
same
got something to do with this missing money, hasn't it?
I told
This
you
is
that
your way of telling me you think I took it, isn't it?
Now, Cobb,
That's it, isn't it, Mr. Humboldt? You've questioned everyone else in the department. With me, you figure questions are unnecessary, don't you?
Well, since you put it that way, Cobb, naturally we must take into consideration your past.
You knew about my prison record. I told you about it. Would I have told you about it if I was going to steal again?
I'm not accusing you of stealing again. I only say we can't afford to take chances. We simply find it advisable.
All right. I understand. I understand a lot of things now, Mr. Humboldt. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Humboldt, for the Christmas bonus.
Hey, Mike, wait a minute. Well, did you get it? Did he give you a Christmas bonus?
Yeah, I got a Christmas bonus, all right.
Hey, what's up? What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. I'll tell you about it later. I'm leaving now.
Oh, yeah, you're in a hurry. But wait, I almost forgot. With my bonus, I can pay you that $30 I owe you.
Huh?
Here. 10, 20, 30. That ought to help with that present for your wife, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, George. Thanks.
Merry Christmas, Mike. Yeah. That premonition you had this morning was right, wasn't it? That funny, sinking feeling. Now you know, don't you, Mike? You knew it all the time, really. All this past 6 months you've been kidding yourself. The dream bubble has burst. Merry Christmas, Mike. The crowds are still cheerful on the streets. The windows are still bright and gay, and the holly still spices the air. But you don't see or feel or smell. No, there's only the sensation of a chill wind cutting you to the bone as you wander the dark streets, not knowing or caring where you are.
Hello, Michael. Merry Christmas.
Huh? Oh, hello, Reverend Hewitt. I didn't see you.
So I noticed. I was just getting home from my last-minute shopping. Won't you come in for a moment? A cup of tea, perhaps?
Why, no,
Oh, come on. I haven't seen you for a long time. That is for a chat. Besides, it's chilly out. A cup of hot tea will warm you up. You look as if you could stand warming up, Michael. Come in.
No, I've got to get along.
Oh, come now. That lovely wife of yours won't miss you for a few more minutes.
I tell you, I've got to go.
Very well, Michael. I won't keep you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Reverend. I didn't mean to,
Well, I understand, son. You're troubled. Is there anything I can do?
No, I'm all right.
Well, I know you too well, Michael. I've known you all my life. Now, I've helped you before, haven't I? Why?
I don't know. I don't know whether you did or not. All that stuff you told me about turning over a new leaf, forgetting the past, I believed it.
Well, yes, of course.
Hal, maybe you should have told it to some other people instead of me. It just don't work, Reverend. It just don't work. All that stuff about being good and doing good. Hal, it don't pay you off.
It does, Michael. It does. You must believe that. Even a little good done brings a great reward.
Yeah, maybe to some people. Only maybe some of us are behind an 8-ball we can't get around.
Michael, please come in. I feel I must talk to you.
Not tonight, Reverend. Got all the talking I can stand. Now I'm going to do my own thinking. And I know what I'm going to do. You can bet your sweet life I know just what I'm going to do.
Yes, your mind is made up now, isn't it, Mike? Humboldt made it up for you, didn't he? You hate him, don't you, Mike? And all the smug people like him who've never done a stretch and stir. They're your enemies, aren't they, Mike? Whether you wanted them to be or not. And you're just one of the cell rats. Okay, if that's the way it is, that's the way you'll play it. What's that? Footsteps following you? Maybe if you stop by this lighted window. Yeah, you were right, Mike. They're following you, all right. 2 of them. You saw them duck into that doorway when you stopped and turned around.
Tailing me. They got dicks tailing me. Why, sure, you dope. They wouldn't let you just walk out of there. They think you took the money. They're going to tail you, hound you, track you down. Okay, if they think I took the money, I'll give them reason to. This time I will take it.
You are listening to The Whistler, brought to you by your friend, the Signal Oil Company. Marketers of famous Signal gasoline, your best buy today. Remember to let every go signal remind you do go farther with Signal gasoline.
Merry Christmas, Mike. A very Merry Christmas, isn't it? 6 months of going straight and you've given it up. You're going back to the store and get your share of those days' receipts. Yes, it's all so simple, isn't it, Mike? It'll soon be 12 o'clock midnight, and old Gus will be up in the Louis 15th room on the 13th floor. The safe in Humboldt's office will be a cinch. You've seen it many times. And as for the 2 dicks tailing you now, it'll be duck soup to shake 'em. Duck soup. That's right. You're heading up 10th Avenue now. You can double back and... What's wrong, Mike? Why are you stopping? Could it be that tune, the brightly lighted window, the old man standing back there? Of course, now you remember. 10th Avenue. This is old Mr. Samuel's little store. This is it, where you're going to buy Elaine her Christmas present. And there it is. What you heard, the music box, sitting on the counter next to the open door, playing.
Very good evening, Michael, and Merry Christmas.
Hiya, Mr. Samuels.
You came in just in time. I was just about to close up. I guess down at your big store you've been closed for a long time. But here, well, we little fellows have to stay open to get all the business we can. What can I do for you?
Is this the music box that Elaine likes so well?
Ah, yes, that is the one. She was very taken with it. Ah, how her eyes sparkled when she looked at it.
Yeah, there's a powder puffer. Something inside, isn't
Ah,
it?
that is right. And when you open it, it plays the little tune. So. Yes, she was saying how it was her favorite tune.
Okay. How much is it?
Well, it's usually priced at 75, but I'll give it to you and the young lady for 50.
$50?
Well, yes, you see, it's a genuine antique, and it's the best thing I have in this store.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's more than I figured on.
Oh, I'm sorry, too. I would have let you have it for less if I could, but 50 is the lowest.
Sure. Well, okay, forget it.
I'm sorry. Come back again.
Now what's the matter, Mike? Why are you stopping? Could it be you can't make up your mind? Could it be you're thinking about the music box, about Elaine, about Christmas? Yes, this may be your last Christmas with her, you know. Your last chance to give her a decent present with clean money, money you earned. It might be a nice gesture, eh, Mike? A little token of all that might have been.
Oh, Mr. Samuels, I'll take it. Wrap it up as a gift, and I'll take it.
Merry Christmas, Mike. That's what's written across the package. It was going to be a symbol for a wonderful new life, wasn't it? And now it's an ironic farewell. Your last attempt at doing good, as Reverend Hewitt called it. Too bad it won't bring you that great reward he promised. It won't have a chance, because there are those two dicks still following you. And you're heading for J.C. Deaver's department store, office of Henry Humboldt, and the interior of its safe. It's almost 12 midnight, and you'll have to duck those guys quick.
30 girls, 30. The greatest little show in town, starring Tootsie Laverne and her 30 raving beauties. A new show just started. Only 40 cents. Ticket, mister? Huh? Oh, yeah. 40 cents. Thank you, sir. A new show just started. Hurry, ladies and gentlemen. It's the greatest little
You're doing great, Mike. Those dicks will follow you in, but you won't be there, will you? No. You're heading for that exit sign down at the side. Through the curtains, push out through the door, and there you are. In the alley. Free. Okay. Now, up to the street. Lose yourself in the crowd. Turn down Fifth toward the store. You're okay now. No need to look back. Or is there? They're there. You didn't shake them after all. They were wise to that trick, and they were waiting for you outside the theater. Yes, you should have known. Now what? Maybe you've got an idea. Yes. A good idea. A honey. Why not lead them to the store? Sure, that's where they expect you to go. But beat them there and hide, down in the freight dock, behind one of those big crates. They'll never find you in that mess. Then when they get tired looking, you'll be able to slip in and do the job. All that. Brilliant. Yes, brilliant. Yes, here's the store. There they are, a quarter of a block behind. When you hit the alley, you'll run for it. Make a dash back to the back. And you'll be so far ahead then, they won't know whether you got in or not. And you'll fool them entirely. You'll have them searching the whole store. Okay, here it is. Okay, you made it. You left them way behind. Here's the freight dock.
Okay. Come on, coppers. Just try and find me in here.
Found it. Now we've lost him. I told you knew we were following him.
Sure. But let's not waste time. He had plenty of time to get in. Probably with his employee's key.
Okay. Get out your skeleton and let's go in after him.
Worked like a charm, didn't it, Mike? You're sitting here in your crate, comfortably waiting, while they search the entire store. They've been there long enough to do it. It's almost 1. If they don't hurry, you'll have Gus to worry about. Not that that's too much of a worry. But wait, hold it.
Yeah, that does it.
Yeah, too bad. Hey, flash your lighter out. He could have ducked into one of these crates here.
Yeah, but we never find him in that mess. He could play hide and seek with us there for days.
Yeah, you're right. I guess we might as well call it a day. It's a fine way to spend Christmas Eve anyway. Come on, let's go home.
Okay, I'm right beside you.
Well, Mike, Merry Christmas. This is better than you expected. They're leaving, actually going away, leaving the place to your tender mercies. You won't have to dodge him coming out. They aren't going to camp out in Humboldt's office. They're actually walking away, down the alley, and you're set.
Good Lord, the music box. Something's wrong. It's going. I can't stop. I can't.
Hey, Joe. Joe, listen. Yeah, I hear it. Come on, right over here.
I've got to stop it. I got it.
Okay, right here. In this crate.
Too late.
Okay, Cobb. We finally cornered you. Come on out.
No use hiding in there now, Cab. Come on. We want to talk to you.
Yeah, I know. I got the idea. Okay. Okay, you got me.
Yeah. Thanks for the music. Led us right to the dance floor.
Yeah, that's the great reward the minister was talking about. Great.
I don't get you.
Oh, you wouldn't. It's a private little joke on me.
Yeah? Well, that music maybe did you a big favor, Cobb.
Favor?
That's right. Maybe you'll see what I mean if you'll answer a few questions for us.
I don't see why I should.
You got nothing to be afraid of, kid, if you'll just answer a couple of questions straight.
I'll answer one. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it.
Okay. You had nothing to do with it. We didn't ask you that question. But answer this. You bought that music box at a store on 10th Avenue a while ago, didn't you?
You know I did. You saw me buy it.
And you paid for it with 2 20s and a 10,
yeah.
Right? Well, part of that money was marked. It was money that had been stolen from Deaver's department store.
I said it wasn't stolen. That was the dough I got in my pay envelope.
All of it? Didn't somebody else give you part of it?
No, I just earned the whole thing.
Didn't George Osborne give you part of it?
Osborne? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He paid me $30 he owed.
Okay. Now, this is very important. How'd Osborne pay you? In what denomination of bills?
Well, Yeah, I remember. He gave me 3 10s.
10s? You're sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
And the 20s came to you in your pay envelope, huh?
Yeah.
You'll swear to that in court?
Of course.
Okay. That does it. Thanks, Cobb.
Hey, wait. You mean that's all you wanted me for?
It was enough. You just proved for us who stole that 10 grand from the store. And the way you were acting, we'd almost thought it was you. We hadn't have known better all the time.
But that's not the end of the story. The Whistler will bring it to you in just a moment. Meantime, Signal Oil Company joins with 1,800 Signal gasoline dealers throughout the West from Canada to Mexico in hoping that this has been a good Christmas for you. It wasn't the Christmas we had all hoped and prayed for. There were too many empty places at the table, too many empty places in our hearts. As we look back, we may wonder if perhaps we didn't give quite enough. Not quite enough of our effort, of our money, and of our blood, which can mean life itself to a boy at the front. Yet even the regrets that may tinge this season's gladness can prove its greatest blessing if they fire us to new determination, to new and greater effort through the coming year until our prayers are finally answered and peace again returns to heal this confused and torn world. Yes, if, as this Christmas of 1944 draws to a close, we will rededicate ourselves to this, our job, we may, each of us, hasten the realization of that ancient promise, peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And now, back to the Whistler.
Well, quite surprising, isn't it? The police didn't suspect Mike at all. You see, it was this way. Because of his record, the cops began to tail Mike in the very beginning, when the money first began to be missed. Twice they had him under observation at the very time the money was stolen, so they knew he didn't do it. But they kept watching him in the hope he would lead them to the real thief, and he did. Yes, because when things got hot, the thief finally tried to frame Mike by giving him some of the stolen money. Marked money this time. George Osborne? Oh, no. In fact, Osborne almost gummed things up by paying his debts. The detectives hadn't counted on that. That's why they had to be sure which bills Osborne gave Mike. The 10s weren't marked, the 20s were. The 20s, Mike got in his pay envelope from Humboldt. Yes, Henry Humboldt, the office manager. You see, things were getting too hot for him. The trail was getting too close. He knew the money was marked, and he knew the detectives were watching Mike. So he gave him some of the marked bills in his severance pay, trying to frame him. It couldn't have worked, of course, but Humboldt didn't know that, and neither did Mike. And Mike almost did something he'd have regretted all his life. He almost went back to a life of crime. Yes, if the music box hadn't have jammed and started playing just when it did, and the detectives had gone off, Mike's life would have gone down the skids. Because it did play when it did. Well, next week he'll be back at the store, in a better job. Yes, and he got a Christmas bonus, too. They saw to that after Humboldt was arrested. And all because the music box played. Maybe that's why Mike said,
No, sir. That music box sits right there on the table where everybody can see it.
Darling, I really think it means as much to you as it does to me.
Oh, I guess maybe it does, Elaine. Just like the Reverend Hewitt says, a little good brings a great reward. Yeah, for the rest of my life, that little gadget's going to mean a Merry Christmas. Darling, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Next Monday at 9 o'clock, the Signal Oil program will bring you another strange tale by the Whistler. The Signal Oil program is broadcast for your entertainment by the Signal Oil Company, marketers of Signal's famous Go Farther gasoline and motor oil, and by your neighborhood Signal Oil dealer, who is at your service daily to keep your car running for the duration. The Signal Oil program, produced by George W. Allen, with music by Wilbur Hatch, is transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. Bob Anderson speaking for your friend, the Signal Oil Company, and suggesting once again that you let every go signal remind you that you do go farther with Signal gasoline. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Signal Oil program, The Whistler. That whistle is your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales, hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
Yes, friends, it's now time for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler, rated tops in popularity for a longer period of time than any other West Coast program in radio history. And here's an important announcement for Whistler fans in California only. Beginning next Sunday, January 2nd, due to California's going off daylight saving time, the Whistler will be heard in California only 1 hour earlier, from 8:30 until 9. Remember the change in time. In California only, the Whistler will be heard at a new time, from 8:30 till 9. In other states, the Whistler will be heard at the same time as always. And now the Whistler's strange story, Delayed Christmas Present.
Christmas was really over, for it was 1 o'clock in the morning at Pete's Cantina, a tough little night spot on the outskirts of Panama City. But the melody lingered on. You could hear the chimes of the big church a block away playing Adeste Fidelis. There was practically no business. 4 hostesses, all Americans, were sitting drearily at the far end of the ballroom near the bar. One of them, Mary Winslow, billed as Candy Porter, just sat gazing drearily into space, thinking bitterly of a past from which for a while there had seemed no escape. But for 5 months now she'd been relatively safe. No one had been around asking any questions. As Candy Porter, blues singer, Mary Winslow had found a kind of security, not a happy security, for she was far away from home. And as the chimes became silent, Mary wondered if it was worthwhile. Her reverie was broken up as she looked up and saw Spanish Pete, a fat, greedy owner of the cantina, approaching her table.
Candy, look, there's an American gentleman just came in. He wants to buy you some champagne. Champagne, you hear that?
Please, Pete, not tonight. It's Christmas. I'd rather be alone if you don't mind.
I do mind. Look.
All right. Let him spend his money on champagne.
Now you're smart, baby. Here he comes.
You turn and see the tall, heavy-set American approach. Suddenly you become tense. You recognize the type, don't you? After a year of running away, you've learned to spot his kind in a moment. You fight to remain calm as he reaches your table.
Sit down, Mr. Fontaine. Sit down.
Sure you don't mind, Miss Porter?
Of course not.
Thanks. In that case, I guess I will.
I'll go get the champagne. I keep him on ice. 11 years old, too.
Cigarette, Mr. Fontaine?
No, thanks.
You don't mind if I do?
Of course not. Light?
Thanks.
Strange, spending Christmas so far away from home.
Mm-hmm. How come?
Business. Important business.
Couldn't it wait?
No. This business means a lot to the people I work for.
Well, here's what you say, bubble water. From Marseille, 13 years old.
You said 11.
That was from Le Havre. This is even better. Now I put him back in the ice. You want some more? You just call Pete. I got another one on ice just like him.
Well, I guess it's kind of late to wish you a Merry Christmas, Miss Porter. So I guess I'd better just say season's greetings. Anyway, here's luck.
Here's hoping you find whatever you came here after.
I've already found what I came after.
I'm glad.
I hope you will be.
Why shouldn't I be?
Because I came after you, Mary Winslow.
With the prologue of Delayed Christmas Present, the Signal Oil Company brings you another strange story by The Whistler. But now, since this is Christmas weekend, I want to thank you for inviting us of the Whistler cast into your home on this special occasion. During the 6 consecutive years that the Whistler has been broadcast by Signal Oil Company, many of us have had the pleasure of celebrating Christmas with many of you a number of times. And believe me, we feel it a real honor that you consider us a part of your entertainment family. Tonight, on behalf of Signal Oil Company and the independent signal dealers who serve the states of California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Nevada, and Arizona, I want to say, we hope that your Christmas has been a merry one. May your new year be filled with peace, prosperity, and the good health with which to enjoy these blessings. And now back to the Whistler.
After a year, it doesn't seem fair, does it, Mary Winslow? After a year of hiding, using one name and then another. After 5 bitter months of singing at Pete's Cantina as Candy Porter, blues singer, this man Fontaine has come to take you back to the States, to face the consequences of one horrible night. You're sure he's a detective. It couldn't be anything else. You can't run again. There's no place you could go. You've only one card left. And as you face the man across the table and listen to his even, level voice, you decide to play it. If you play it carefully, it might be an ace.
I think you know why I'm here. We're leaving in the morning for Los Angeles, Miss Winslow.
Like the billing says, my name is Candy Porter.
I know what the billing says.
I know what it said in Brooklyn when you were billed as Doris Trent, in Denver when you were billed as Gladys James. But when you first took a powder out of Los Angeles, you were Mary Winslow.
You know, it's almost funny you should call me Mary Winslow. We used to work together, her and me, in the same floor show. We could have been billed as twin sisters. The customers used to mistake us for each other, too.
Now, look, Miss Winslow, let's quit kidding.
I'm not kidding. A lot of other people have made the same mistake you have. And like I said, I knew Mary Winslow intimately. I think I could help you solve your case if you let me tell you about her.
Sure. Go ahead if it'll make you feel any better.
Thanks. You see, Mary Winslow was really just a good kid that got a bad break. In love with a swell guy and scared to death of a hoodlum. She told me all about it. It's quite a story.
I'll bet it is.
Yes, it was quite a story, wasn't it, Mary? And it all began a year ago Christmas Eve at the Christmas party given by your employers in the pink room of the Swank Wilchester Hotel. You really enjoyed yourself that night, didn't you? And you were quite the hit of the evening. You sang 3 numbers and went over big. Your fellow workers didn't know your many talents. Everyone told you what a fine singer you were. And when you left, you were feeling good. So good you decided to drop into the cocktail lounge, make a phone call, and have a nightcap before going home.
Scotch and soda. Mix it.
Make mine the same, Bill. Gotcha? I heard you sing tonight. You were terrific.
Thanks.
What's the matter? Did he stand you up?
Who?
The guy you were just talking to on the phone. No, I guess he didn't stand you up.
Didn't he?
And he's on his way here right now. Yep, that's the answer. Lucky guy.
Hey, our folks.
Oh, take it out of here, Bill.
Now, look here,
Oh,
Mr.
take it easy. It's practically Christmas. What's the harm of my buying you one drink? Like I said, I like your voice, Miss Winslow.
Here's your change.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
You must be a detective. You know my name and everything.
Well, no, not everything. But it wasn't any trick to find out your name. I just asked one of the boys I saw you dancing with. My name's Joe Clark. Oh, I see you've never heard of me.
Should I have?
A lot of people have. Most of the boys and girls around the night spots know me.
Well, then that accounts for my ignorance. You see, I seldom haunt the night spot.
Well, you should. With a voice like yours, you could be packing them in a good nightclub.
Oh, now I get it. You're a professional talent scout and you want to get me into the movies.
No. I'm a gambler. Shock you?
Why should it? Live and let live is my motto. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now.
What?
Live my life and let you live yours. Good night, Mr. Clark. My. Just think, tomorrow I can tell all the girls at the office I met a real live gambler.
You could tell them all a lot more than that if you believed in your voice as much as I do.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You've heard of Dominguez on Sunset out near the ocean?
It's an undercover gambling club, isn't
It's
it?
more than a gambling club. It's a swell floor show. A lot of big people go out there, people that count.
And they're all intimate friends of yours, I'm sure.
Not all, but I know quite a few. Could push you right to the top with that voice.
Oh, that's the oldest line I've ever heard.
It's not a line. Yeah, but skip it. Go on home. Listen to the radio. Eat candy. You can have a terrific time. You go to Dominguez with me, you can't tell what might happen. You might have to meet a couple of show producers. So play it safe and go home. It may be dull, but you'll always get to work on time.
Is that all you have to say?
That's all. Nighty-night.
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Could we be back fairly early?
Leave any time you say.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Oh, now you're making sense. I'll call a cab.
Never mind, I have a car. It's parked right around the corner.
Clark used just the right approach, didn't he, Mary? You realize you're being a fool. But as the hours pass, you tell yourself your fears are groundless. Joe treats you with perfect courtesy. You watch the gambling for a while, then proceed to the silver room and enjoy the floor show. Afterward, you have a little food and watch the dancers.
Suddenly, you've had enough.
Joe, do you mind if we leave now?
I said we'd leave any time you said. What hit you? The music?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Another guy?
Another guy. My fiancé.
What happened to him?
He's in the Philippines. Research.
Oh. Chemist?
Doctor. Dr. Frank Wilson, M.D. That was his car we drove out here in. He told me to keep it warm for him.
Well, too bad. We could have had a lot of fun. Well, shall we go?
Was it just the song, Mary? Or was it that uneasy feeling you have about Joe that made you want to leave so suddenly? It must have been the song. For as you're ready to leave the club grounds, Joe is still a considerate escort.
Well, hop in. Oh, unless you want me to drive.
I'll drive unless you mind too much.
Oh, no, I don't mind. Probably be safer, too.
For several miles, Joe says little, seems preoccupied, and you feel relieved when he breaks his rather strange silence.
Oh, say, Mary, would you mind stopping for a minute at drive-in? All of a sudden, I'm having an awful headache. Maybe I can get some aspirin there.
I doubt it, but we'll give it a try.
You can keep the motor running while I'm gone. I'll only be gone a few seconds.
Okay. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Joe!
Get going.
Joe, you shot him.
I said get going, fast. There's a gun in your ribs, baby. You just saw what happened to one guy that crossed me.
Is he dead?
I don't know.
Oh, you. Oh, why was I such a fool?
Turn right at the next corner. Car's been tailing us for the last 5
Oh, I'm
minutes.
glad. I hope it's a prowl car. It'd save me the trouble of phoning the police.
He didn't turn, baby. You shouldn't have said what you did about phoning the cops. You better pull over and park. We got a couple of things to talk over. I said pull over! Yeah, that's better.
Please, Joe, don't kill me. I know you can do it easy, but I'll never talk about tonight.
That's the way you feel now. An hour from now, you'll feel
Oh, no,
better.
I won't, on my word of honor. I'm making a deal with you, Joe. I'm trading you my silence for my life. I swear I won't talk about it ever.
Okay, I'll take a chance. You drove the getaway car, so we're partners now anyway. We're going to have a lot of fun together, you and me. Now, how about dropping me off at my place?
Tell me where to go.
I live about 6.
After you drop Joe and you reach your apartment, you're so weak you can hardly stand. Your senses are reeling, your brain is spinning. You practically fall into bed. You try to snatch a little sleep, but sleep is impossible. Finally, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the newspaper is shoved under your apartment door. The headlines sicken you.
Drive-in operator shot and hold up dies.
The subheadings are even worse.
Unidentified man and woman seen fleeing from scene of crime in dark green 47 model Chevrolet. Pedestrian believes he can identify both car and woman.
There it is, Mary. Hopeless, isn't it? Even if you called the police, your story would sound phony now. It's closing in on you, isn't it, Mary? Yet frightened as you are, you're certain of 2 things. That you're not going to become further involved with Joe Clark. And you won't allow any unfavorable publicity to fall on your absent fiancé, Dr. Frank Wilson. You were foolish to risk a life of happiness with him, weren't you? Or a few moments of excitement with a gambler, a murderer like Joe Clark. But you decide there's only one thing you can do, Mary. Leave town, disappear, and never see Clark again. You dress hurriedly, packing only a few belongings, and then spend Christmas Day and night at the home of a girlfriend. The next morning, you're on an eastbound plane. 3 months later, you're singing in the Golden Lion, a prosperous little nightclub in Brooklyn, New York, where you become a featured performer under the name of Doris Trent. You're a great success under your new name. And then one night you have a visitor. You're sure it's Mr. Vern Shields, London musical comedy producer.
Come in.
Well, well, what do you know? Long time no see, Miss Trent. Doris Trent, it says on the program.
All right, Joe. Now that you've found me, what's on your mind?
You double-crossed me, baby.
You're crazy. That's why I left town, so I wouldn't have to talk to anybody.
But you could still write, couldn't you?
I don't get you.
That anonymous note to the police, written just after you left, telling all about that driving job. Gave the exact time, my name, where I lived, what I had on, everything. But not a word about the girl with me. Funny, huh? You're the only one that knew all of that, baby.
Oh, no, Joe, you're wrong. Believe me, I didn't write any note.
Couldn't have been anyone else. 2 days after you left, they picked me up for questioning.
Anybody could have written a note like that. Well, one of your enemies might have wanted you out of circulation and tried to frame you.
Yeah, maybe, but I doubt it.
Joe, I didn't write it. I've kept my bargain with you 100%.
There's one way you can convince me.
How?
Marry me tonight.
Marry you?
Yeah. That way I'll be sure of you. Wives don't testify against their husbands. Besides, I'll know what you're doing all the time.
Oh, Joe, I gotta go to my show. Let's talk this over in the
Tonight
morning.
or else. You can run up to Connecticut. But go ahead, do your show. If you've got any ideas about calling in the cops, don't forget you drove the getaway car. And in case anything serious should happen to me, there's a written confession in my pocket telling exactly how you helped me pull the job. How we used your boyfriend's car. How you kept the motor running waiting for me. Your doctor would love reading about that, wouldn't he?
No. No, he wouldn't.
Then don't get funny. Go ahead and on do your show. I'll wait for you here.
You start down the hallway toward the powder room off stage. Suddenly you realize what a fool you've been. But you're not going to keep on being a fool, are you, Mary? Not with that wall telephone just 5 steps ahead of you.
Operator. Oh, operator. Get me police headquarters.
Better
quick.
hang up quick, babe, and I mean quick. You should have looked around before you called. I had a hunch you'd try to double-cross me. Now I know for sure who wrote that note to the cops.
Oh, I didn't, Joe.
You
honest.
just tried to call him, didn't you? All of a sudden, I've lost interest in getting married. We're just going for a little ride. Come on, babe, start walking.
No, Joe. I'm not moving a foot, not an inch. If I have to be shot, I'll take it right here. Let go of my arm.
Hey, what's going on here? Something wrong, Doris? This guy bothering you?
Yes, he is. He wants to date me. Tell him to leave, will you, Eddie?
Maybe I'd better take him into the office and call the cops.
No. No, thanks, Eddie. There's no need for that. He's just another wolf. Tell him to leave. That's good enough.
You heard what the lady said, Bud. Start traveling.
Okay, chum. Anything you say. I'll see the lady later. We parked right across the street.
You should have let me call the cops.
I would have if he hadn't had you covered with his gun.
Oh? Thanks, kid.
Eddie, I gotta get out of town fast.
After what you just did for me, that's a cinch. Grab some clothes while I phone my wife I'm bringing you home. We'll go out the rear entrance. My car's on the lot next door. Tomorrow I'll call a friend of mine in Denver. He'll put you to work right away. You better change your name, though.
That'll be easy. I'm getting used to it. So, Mr. Fontaine, that's where I met Mary Winslow, in Denver at the High Hat Club. Billed as Gladys James. She roomed with me about 2 months, and then she left, just like that, one night when a waiter told her some guy wanted to interview her for a magazine. That's the last I ever saw of her.
That's the end of the story?
That's the end.
And Mary Winslow told you all this?
Well, We were very close friends.
I'll say you were. You expect me to believe that?
It's true, every word of it.
You know something? You ought to be writing stories for the movies.
The Whistler will return in just a moment with a strange ending to tonight's story. Now that Christmas shopping is out of the way for another year, most of us are figuring ways to get our badly stretched budgets back into shape, which makes now a mighty appropriate time to talk about Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline. Mileage, of course, is only one of the reasons that folks who insist on getting the most from each gasoline dollar choose Signal. In addition, they like the superior performance that goes hand in hand with mileage. You see, the only way today's Signal gasoline can give you such good mileage is by helping your motor run more efficiently. And when your motor runs more efficiently, you also enjoy quicker starting, faster pickup, smoother power, the things that make driving more pleasure. So, among your resolutions for the new year, how about resolving to put Signal gasoline to the test in your car? See for yourself why drivers who insist on quality, as well as those with an eye for economy, are both switching to Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline. And now back to the Whistler.
Well, Mary, it looks as though you've lost, doesn't it? That your one card wasn't enough. The man across the table, the man you're sure is a detective, who has come to take you back to Los Angeles to stand trial for a holdup and murder you had nothing to do with, doesn't believe you, does he? And the jury in Los Angeles won't believe you either. Yes, Mary, it looks as though you've lost, but you're going to play the game to the end anyway. And as the piano player across the floor plays the tune he's played 1,000 times in the last 2 weeks, you quietly watch Fontaine and await his next word.
How long did you say you've been here?
I didn't say. I got here about 5 months ago.
Like it here?
No.
That's what I figured. Look, Miss...
Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks.
Light?
Mm-hmm. Thanks again, Miss Porter.
Did you say Miss Porter?
That's what you said your name was, didn't you? That's what the billing says, too, isn't it?
Oh, thanks, Mr. Fontaine. Thanks for believing me.
There's just one thing I'd like to ask you, Miss...
Ask me anything.
Knowing Miss Winslow as well as you do you think she might come back to Los Angeles sometime and sort of clear things up?
I think she might. Someday. You see, a girl like Mary Winslow gets to feel kind of soiled after working around in joints like this. She'd probably want to spend a little time, maybe out in the desert, in the sunshine. Sort of freshening up before anybody she cared about.
Yeah. I guess she would. Well, this was a pretty long trip for nothing, you might say. Just one more bum steer. But I'm glad it came. I always figured that confession we found on Joe Clark was a phony.
Clark? Is Joe Clark in jail?
He's dead. The Brooklyn police got him one night about 5 months ago. Funny how they got the tip. A woman called the police one night from a little nightclub, the Golden Lion Club. She hung up before they answered the phone, but the Brooklyn boys decided to investigate anyway. One of them spotted Clark parked in the car across the street, and he got trigger-happy, and that was that.
Joe Clark. Finished.
Well, Miss Porter, if you ever run into Mary Winslow...
I'll tell her all about the Christmas present I got from a swell cop named Fontaine.
I'm not a cop, Miss Porter.
You're not? Then who are you?
I'm a private investigator, working for a guy named Wilson. Dr. Frank Wilson.
Frank Wilson?
That's right. He's in love with Mary Winslow. Doesn't care where she's been. Just wants her to come back and marry him. Well, so long, Miss Porter, and Happy New Year.
Mr. Fontaine,
Yes?
do you think you could arrange for me to go back to the States with you?
I guess I could. I was figuring on taking one lady back. Are you going on through to Los Angeles?
Not for a while. I'd kind of like to spend a little time in the country somewhere. But I think maybe before next Christmas. Well, I think I'll find Mary Winslow again.
Let that whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Now let me repeat an important announcement for Whistler fans in California only. Beginning next Sunday, January 2nd, due to California's going off daylight saving time, The Whistler will be heard in California only 1 hour earlier from 8:30 until 9. Remember the change in time in California only. The Whistler will be heard at a new time from 8:30 till 9. In other states, The Whistler will be heard at the same time as always. Featured in tonight's story were Joan Banks and Jack Petruzzi. The Whistler was produced by George W. Allen and directed by Gordon Hughes, with story by Edward Bloodworth and music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. This is Marvin Miller speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hey, Ethelbert.
Oh, hello, Casey.
What's Tony Marvin worrying about over there?
Why, he's writing a holiday poem. And he's stuck for something to rhyme with Christmas stocking.
But, Ethelbert, are you kidding?
Certainly not. Oh, you mean Anchor Hocking.
Oh, gee, fellas, that's wonderful. Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole. Our adventure for tonight, Christmas shopping. Late afternoon, a crowded aisle in one of our city's largest department stores. Making slow headway through the jostling shoppers are...
Casey, I've never seen the store so crowded.
We say that every year during the week before Christmas, Annie. Where are you taking me now, huh?
Well, you haven't anything for your Aunt Harriet yet, so I thought we'd look at umbrellas. They're on this side of the store somewhere.
Yeah. Annie, look, you can pick up a much nicer umbrella for Aunt Harriet than I can. I trust your judgment, absolutely, Annie. So
Suppose I shop for all the uninteresting items while you go up to the toy department and watch the electric trains again.
Well, you know I've still got to pick up a few more things for my sister's kids, Annie. And hey, Annie, wait a minute. Hang on to your pocketbook. Keep an eye on that little guy in the black overcoat just ahead of us.
Who?
That's Fingers Fogarty, one of the best-known dips in the city.
Pickpocket?
Yep. Shove through this mob a little faster, Annie. Now keep him in sight. I think he's closing in on a prospect.
You mean he's made up his mind about whose pocket he's going to pick?
Sure, smart dips like Fingers don't dive into just anybody's pocket. They hang around bars and wait for some guy to flash a roll, and they tail him. If he gets into a crowd like this... Look, Fogarty's doing his stuff now, Henny.
No.
Yeah. That big fat guy he just bumped into. Fingers took a wallet from his inside pocket.
Well, I didn't see him.
Neither did the fat guy. Fingers is a smooth worker. Come on. He'll feel very badly when we stop his special brand of Christmas shopping, but pocket picking is considered antisocial. I've got to get Mr. Fogarty.
Well, he squeezed through the crowd. I can't see him anymore.
Neither can I.
Look, Casey, yell out for somebody to stop him.
Well, I yell, stop thief.
Well, you can't let him get away.
He won't get away. Every cop in this precinct knows Fingers. He'll be picked up quick after a charge is brought against him. I'll help that guy who lost his wallet bring the charge.
Yes, if you appear as a witness.
I will.
There's the fat man.
Excuse me, mister. Huh? Something happened to you a minute ago that I don't think you know about.
What do you mean?
Your pocket was picked.
My pocket?
Yeah. A little guy bumped into you, and as he did, I saw his hand go into your inside pocket and come out with a wallet. Well, I happen to know who he is, and when you report your loss to the cops, I'll be glad
You're mistaken, mister. I didn't lose my wallet.
Huh? I'm sure
I'm more sure.
I tell you, I saw him.
When a guy sees something that couldn't be seen, he's either goofy or drunk. On your way, fella.
Well, I'll be...
Good thing you didn't get your hands on Fingers, Fogarty.
What
He could have
is this?
plastered you with a nice suit for false arrest.
And I know he took a wallet from that fat guy's pocket. I was watching every move that Fingers made.
Well, I was watching him, too, and I didn't see him take anything, and that fat man says he didn't lose a wallet, so...
Okay, I'm goofy or drunk.
Well, maybe you only need glasses.
Well, I do after this. Several glasses. Let's head for the Blue Note.
You and Casey get your Christmas shopping done this afternoon, Miss Williams?
Well, I accomplished quite a lot, Ethelbert, but not Casey. He got sore, and after that, nothing would please him.
What'd you get sore about, pal?
Nothing.
Oh, he had a little eye trouble.
Oh, gee, that's too bad. Did you see spots floating in front of you, Casey?
My eyes are okay. Now fill that glass up again, Ethelbert. Don't ask so many silly questions.
Mine, too, Ethelbert.
Right away, Miss Williams.
Oh, now, Casey, don't you think it's about time you snapped out of your grouch?
Well,
It's pretty silly to get yourself all burned up just because you made a mistake.
I didn't make a mistake, Annie. Fingers Fogarty took a wallet from that fat guy's pocket. What burns me up is I didn't find out why the fat guy denied it.
Well, how could you have found out?
Oh, I don't know. But I'm supposed to be a newspaper guy, Annie. Why, we may have missed a story with pictures.
Here's your refreshment, folks.
Oh, thanks, Ethelbert.
Say, have you stopped into your office since you finished shopping?
Hey, bartender, who's the boss here?
Well, what do you want?
You want to buy a nice Christmas tree?
You got some nice ones?
A wagon full of them, fresh from Nova Scotia.
Let's see one.
Well, I'll be right back.
Say, Casey, have you two stopped in at your office since you finished your shopping?
Certainly not. This is our day off.
Then you ain't heard the big news yet.
What big news?
One of your police reporters, Jake Birkin, was in a few minutes ago and tipped me off about it. Gee, he was all excited.
What happened, Ethelbert?
About half an hour ago, the cops arrested the kidnapper and murderer of Gregory Walters.
They did?
Where?
Well, where'd they get him?
Well, like you know, before the Walters family paid over that $50,000 ransom to the kidnapper, the FBI made a list of the serial numbers on the bills, which they circulated all over the country.
Of course, we know all that, Ethelbert.
How's this tree, mister? Nice and bushy, huh?
Let's see one a little taller.
A little taller, okay.
Ethelbert, will you tell us about that kidnapper?
Well, I'm getting to it.
Come on.
Well, a guy walks into a tavern over on 36th Street tonight, orders a drink, and hands the barkeep a $20 bill with one of them hot numbers on it. The barkeep checks the number, calls a cop, and when the cop searched the guy, he found about $500 more of the ransom dough in his pocket.
Well, Ethelbert, who is the guy who had the ransom dough? The cops identified him yet?
Well, they knew him as soon as they laid eyes on him.
But Ethelbert, who is he? Please.
Hey, is this tree big enough, mister?
Let's see. Well, let's see one a little thicker around the bottom.
Thicker around the bottom.
Ethelbert, will you please
Casey
tell
and
us?
I know him. He's always been a small-time crook, and I was surprised to learn he was mixed up with anything so big as kidnapping and murder.
Oh, say, will you tell us?
I am telling you. It's that little runt, Fingers Fogarty.
Fingers Fogarty?
Yeah, the dip.
He had Walter's ransom dough on him?
About $500, just like I said. Naturally, Fingers denies having anything to do with the kidnapping. He said he lifted the dough out of the pocket of a guy who was Christmas shopping in S.J. Franken's department store. Around 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Casey Franken.
And that fat guy denied he's been robbed.
Do you think he was the
Oh, I
one?
can't see Fingers as a kidnapper. He's always been just a slimy little sneak thief.
Hey, what's this about a fat guy, Casey?
Annie, come on. We're going to tell Logan what happened in Frank's.
Well, what did happen,
Well, never mind.
Casey?
You'll hear it later, Ethelbert. So long.
So long. Hey, is this one big enough for you, mister?
I tell them two a whole complete news story in 2 short words, then they run off and leave me out on a limb.
What limb? Too big?
Oh, you? Oh, no, we've got to have a really big tree.
So you think Fingers Fogarty may be just the victim of circumstances, Casey? Circumstances peculiar to his profession.
Miss Williams and I have told you what happened, Logan. You can add it up.
Captain, have you got anything on Fogarty outside of the $500 found in his pocket?
Not yet, Miss Williams. The joint he lives in is being searched, but we don't think he was chump enough to hide the rest of his ransom money there.
If he lifted the 5 C's from that fat guy, he has no rest of the dough to hide.
Now, look, Casey. Fingers Fogarty knows you pretty well, doesn't he?
Yeah, sure, he knows me, certainly.
Now, hasn't it occurred to you that he may have put on an act for your benefit?
I don't get you.
Let's assume that Fingers is the real kidnapper. It's been over a year since the ransom money was paid. Fingers has been careful. He hasn't tried to pass any of the 50 grand because he knows it's red hot. But now he figures the heat has died down, so he sends up a trial balloon.
How do you mean trial balloon?
Well, he's got a record as a tip, Miss Williams. He figures if he gets caught passing that dough, we'll believe that he lifted the money from a guy's pocket. And to cinch it, he acts like he's lifting it from a guy's pocket while Casey is watching him. He picked you for his star witness, pal.
Logan, hasn't it occurred to you that the fat guy might have been sending up that trial balloon?
Huh? What do you mean?
Assume the fat guy is the real kidnapper. And he wants to know how safe it is to pass those ransom bills. He knows that Fingers is a pickpocket. Well, he goes to one of the little runt's hangouts and flashes a roll in front of him. And then he leaves the joint, saunters into a crowded store where it'll be easy for Fingers to work, and Fingers does exactly what's expected of him.
That's a reasonable theory, Captain.
Sure. If Fingers gets caught passing that dough, the kidnapper learns about it from the papers and continues to let the money cool off. Also, Fingers has a long record. You cops won't believe anything he tells you. You'll tag him as the Walters kidnapper, which will leave the real one sitting pretty. The only thing the real kidnapper didn't figure was that someone might see Fingers take his wallet.
Well, maybe you got something there, Casey. You and Miss Williams have never seen that fat guy before?
No, but we'll know him if we see him again, though.
Definitely.
Your description might fit 1,000 guys in this town. I want you two to go up to the record room and look at some pictures we've got in the files.
Oh, great. That'll only take us about 4 or 5 hours, Logan.
Oh, Casey. And this was to have been our night off.
Perhaps you'll forgive this last-minute reminder, but there are now exactly 4 more shopping days until Christmas. That means a very real problem to those of us who like to put things off, as who doesn't? Is there anyone you've overlooked? Anyone to whom you want to give something beautiful, practical, and inexpensive? Well, you'll find the answer in Fire King oven glass. Whether it's a single Fire King casserole or an entire set of Fire King oven glass, prices are unbelievably low, and it'll take a minimum of shopping time at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store. So remember, with housekeeping a real problem in this post-war era, Fire King oven glass is a gift that makes it easier in so many ways, because Fire King makes foods go farther and enables you to turn leftovers into delicious main courses. Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass.
Oh, I don't recognize any picture here, Logan.
Oh, me either. Oh, golly. Captain, why don't you have some good-looking crooks in your files? I'm going to have nightmares looking at pictures of so many ugly men.
You should see the women.
Logan, you know, there's one picture here that bothers me. It resembles the guy a lot, but well, look at the description that goes with it.
Nick Pensa, Woolstock Prison, discharged 1944, armed robbery. Age 30, height 5 feet. Well, you said your fat guy was a 6-footer and at least 45 years old.
Yeah. He weighed a good 250 plus, too. This Nick Pence's weight has given us only 135.
Well, they can't be the same man, then.
No, not a chance. It's funny, though, there is a resemblance.
Well, we need more than that. Let's all go home and get some sleep.
Me for that.
Me too. I'm so tired I can't think.
I'm falling over. I'll murder anybody who wakes me up before noon tomorrow. Oh, no, thank you. No, thanks. Oh. Hello.
Morning, Annie.
Who's this?
Wake up, kid. It's Casey.
Casey? Oh, Casey.
Yeah, Casey, you remember me, don't you?
Yes, I do, and it's only 9 o'clock, and what is the big idea?
Annie, look. I think I know where to look for that fat guy.
You do?
I certainly do. The old bean wasn't working last night. But when I woke up a few minutes ago, I had it. The strong resemblance between that young half-pint crook, Nick Pensa, and our big, fat, 45-year-old guy can't be just coincidental, Annie. They must be relatives, maybe brothers.
Go
Well,
on.
I've looked in the phone book and found only one Pensa listed, John Pensa, contractor, who lives and does business out on Dudley Road. I thought you might like to drive out there with me and see what John Pensa looks like.
Why don't you have the cops go out and look at him?
Annie, you're not awake yet. Only you and I can identify that fat guy. Besides, if you and I find him, Annie, we get an exclusive. The cops are in on it. Every paper in town will have
Well,
it.
I'm awake now, all right. Where'll I meet you?
I'll be outside your door with a car in 15 minutes.
Casey, I've got to dress.
We'll make it a half an hour then.
We'll make it a full hour, and no sooner.
Well, what are you going to dress, yourself or a Christmas tree? Listen, Annie, I can bathe, shave, and get into my clothes in 10 minutes.
I put on underwear. Goodbye.
We're getting close to that address, Annie.
Yeah. This isn't a very attractive neighborhood.
No. John Pensa, contractor, can't be much of a concern.
And John Pensa, contractor, may be no relation whatever to the Nick Pensa in the police files.
The name's very unusual, Anne. I have a hunch.
Uh-oh. There's the place.
Yep. I'll stop here so we can look the joint over.
Well, there's a concrete garage attached to the house with a good-sized truck inside and room for another.
Concrete mixer in the workyard.
Oh, Casey, established businessmen don't go in for kidnapping. I think we're on a wild goose chase.
Annie, that guy coming out of the garage.
What about him? He's just a skinny little...
Annie, you need glasses and a more photographic memory.
He's the man of that police picture.
Of course, Nick Pensa. Now I know my hunch was right.
He's looking over here.
Well, he's never seen us before, but I'll get rolling anyway.
Now, how can we find out if he has a fat brother?
Well, drop into one of these neighborhood stores and make a few inquiries.
Then what?
Well, how can I tell until I find out what I hope to find out? Annie, you're the darndest girl for asking questions. You really are. Now, let's stop there. I will stop here. We'll go into this little drugstore right here. The druggist usually knows everybody in the neighborhood. Come on.
Okay, but I think it would be simpler and more sensible to make inquiries at the precinct police station.
I don't want the cops in on this until we know where we stand. Here, let me do the talking.
It's your party, wise guy. You handle everything.
What can I do for you young people?
Hello, Pop. We're going to have, what kind of ice cream soda do you want, Annie?
If I must have an ice cream soda, chocolate.
Chocolate. Same for me.
2 chocolate sodas.
That's right. By the way, I'm looking for a party in this neighborhood by the name of Pensa. I imagine you know the family well.
Pensa?
Yeah.
Never heard the name before.
You never heard of it?
Change my order to raspberry.
Yes, miss. 1 raspberry. I'm just a stranger here. Come down from upstate to handle this place while my son's away hunting. Maybe my granddaughter can tell you what you want to know. Say, Katie,
Yes, Grandpa?
come here. Fella's looking for a party by the name of Penner.
Penner?
No, not Penner, Pensa.
Oh, I know the Pensas. All of them.
You do? That's swell.
Mr. Pencil lives down the street.
Uh-huh.
Over his office. He's a contractor.
What's he look like? Is he,
Is Mr. Pensa short and skinny, and his first name is Nick?
well, Nick Pensa's not the contractor.
Yes, he is. Ever since he got out of prison a couple of years ago.
You say somebody's gone to prison, Katie?
No, Grandpa. They've come out.
That serves him right then.
The man's reformed now.
Oh, that's bad, very bad.
Grandpop's a little deaf.
Yeah, I can see that. Sister, I understand that my friend, Nick, has a brother or a cousin.
No.
Maybe an uncle?
No.
Here's your sodas. Who gets your raspberry?
He does.
Here you are, mister.
Thanks.
And Mr. Casey, you have earned it.
Sister, you mean Mr. Nick Pencer has no relatives at all?
He's got a sister and a nephew.
Oh, that's a great help.
How old's the nephew? About 10?
No, ma'am. It's the funniest thing. Mr. Gus Pence is a lot older than his uncle.
Huh?
Mr. Gus is Mr. Nick's partner, I think. And he comes in here all the time.
What does Mr. Gus Pencer look like?
Well, he's tall and fat, and in the face he looks like Mr. Nick.
Annie, give me that chocolate. You take the raspberry.
Here's Mr. Gus now.
Oh, Casey.
He's our fat guy.
Mr. Gus, these people were just asking about you. They're friends of Mr. Nick.
Oh, that's bad.
Is that so?
He recognizes us, Casey.
Yeah.
Wasn't it lucky I dropped in here when I did to find friends of Nick's? Grandpop, go back to your back room and put me up 2 bits worth of turpentine.
2 bits worth of turpentine?
Go along and help him, Sissy. He can never find anything.
I'll show him, Mr. Gus.
So you two were asking about me.
You've been told that we were.
I noticed a car outside with a press sign on it. Yours?
Yeah.
And you were looking for me because of what you happened to see in Franken's yesterday.
If I said no, you wouldn't believe me.
Right. This hand in my pocket has a gun in it, mister. So do exactly as I tell you.
Okay.
Remember, and don't pull anything.
Here's a bottle of terps.
Thanks, Grandpop. Here's your 2 bits. Come on with me, folks. You said you wanted to pay Nick a visit.
Casey.
We got no choice, Annie.
Right. So long, Grandpop.
Hey, ain't you folks going to finish your sodas?
No, we lost our appetites.
You didn't take even a sip of your raspberry, mister.
That's what you think, sister.
Get into your car. Both in the front seat. You drive, fella. I'll sit in back with this gat.
Where'll I drive to?
Just down the street to Nick's place. Mine. He and I are partners in everything. And he'll be tickled to see old friends. Turn into the workyard and park in our garage. And next to the truck there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now what do we do?
You and your boyfriend don't do anything, lady. And to make sure you don't...
You hit Casey with your gun!
And you get the shape! That'll keep the two of you quiet for a while. Nick! Nick!
Yeah? What do you want, Gus?
Come into the garage, quick.
Okay. Whose car you got in there?
You'll see. Come inside and help me close these doors.
Okay. Hey. What's the idea?
Take a look inside this car.
Who's the guy and the dame?
They're the two I told you about last night. Saw that dip take the hot dough from my pocket. They got wise to the layout and located us.
Hey, police?
No. These two are newspaper mugs. I figured they were making this play on their own, so we got to take care of them.
We can't bump them off here.
We can. We do it nice, clean, and quiet. Get those big spools of adhesive tape from the house.
What are you going to do?
You'll see. Get that tape.
Yeah. Got the gal all tied up, Gus.
And help me with this guy.
Yeah.
Wrap some more tape around his ankles.
Okay. Yeah. He's fixed now and solid.
All right. Now climb into that truck and start the motor, Nick.
Oh, the carbon monoxide treatment, huh?
Yeah. Nice, clean, and quiet. We just lock them in this closed garage to breathe the gas. Tonight, when it's dark, we get rid of their bodies in their car. Start the motor.
Anne, I worked the tape off my mouth against that fender. Nod your head if you're okay, kid. Good. I'm going to try to pull the adhesive tape off your wrists with my teeth. I'm getting lightheaded. Gas is beginning to work. I got the tape. Now pull and turn your wrists. Pull more, Annie. There, that did it. Your hands are free. Pull the tape off your mouth now.
Okay. Casey, the gag.
Keep your head down low, kid. Try to hold on.
I will.
Pull this tape off my hands.
You better let me free my ankles first so I can get to that truck and shut off the motor.
No. Free my hands. Those two guys may be just outside where they can hear.
Yes, but if it keeps on running, we'll...
If it doesn't keep on running, we'll have no second chance like this. Free my hands.
All right. I've got the end loose.
Pull now. There, does it. Now, unwind your ankles while I get this stuff off of mine.
What good will it do us? We can't get out of here.
We'll get out. Don't breathe, Judy.
This
Get out.
garage is solid concrete. And I heard them lock those heavy doors when they went out. So...
I've got my ankles free. Now, hang on, kid. I'm picking you up.
What are you going to do?
I'm putting you in this truck.
This truck? Why?
It's taking us out of here. Keep your head down.
Okay.
I'm driving through those doors.
Okay, so we're through. Pure air.
Wait a minute, look. Also, those two Pensa guys, they heard us.
Listen, they have guns, too. Step on the gas, Casey. Drive past them. Let's get away.
I can't.
You can. What's the matter?
Stall the motor. Duck, they're shooting.
Oh, why are they running away? They're getting into that car.
They're going to try to get away. If I can only get this motor started again. That did it. Now, come on.
Casey, don't drive toward their car. They'll
I'm
stop
driving into their car. This 10-ton truck does a nice job when it hits a tin can like that.
Oh, Casey. My nerves will never be the same again.
I'll never recognize mine either. Come on, let's call City Desk. Get the cops out here so we can get to the Blue Note. I need another pair of glasses. The kind you fill.
Recently, in a big eastern city, a group of trained men and women called on thousands of housewives and asked this simple question. What kind of container do you prefer for the foods you buy? An overwhelming majority of housewives said they preferred to buy food packed in glass. Among them were a great many mothers of small children, and by a ratio of more than 8-to-1, these mothers said they insisted on prepared baby foods packed in glass. They gave many reasons, as you might expect, but here are the 3 reasons mentioned most frequently. First, glass lets you see what you buy before you buy it. Second, you can heat, serve, and store leftover portions of prepared baby food in the same glass container. And third, these young mothers agreed that sterilized glass containers are cleaner and more sanitary. You can buy an increasing number of the better brands of food packed in glass, and all of the better brands of prepared baby food come to you in Anchor glass containers sealed with tamper-proof Anchor vacuum caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. A great name in glass.
You didn't kill them 2 kidnappers when you threw that truck at them, Casey?
No, Bethelbert, no. The cops pulled them out of the wreckage in fairly good shape, considering.
They'll be able to walk to the chair.
How about the ransom money? Did the cops find it?
Yeah. Gus, the fat guy, confessed the Walters kidnapping and told where he and Nick had hidden the dough.
Gee, and all because you and Miss Williams did some Christmas shopping. Say, what happened to the little dip, Fingers Fogarty?
Well, in trying to clear himself of the kidnap and murder charge, Ethelbert, Fingers made so many admissions about his own specialty that the cops can keep him in jail until 1999.
Gee, 1999, huh?
Good heavens, Casey, what's that coming in the door?
What on earth?
What do you say, mister? That's the biggest tree I got on the wagon, okay?
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, now that's what I call a real Christmas tree.
Ethel, but what are you going to do with such a big tree?
Well, you couldn't get a little tree in that big room.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday at this time by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass. Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, a great name in glass. Crime Photographer, directed by John Deese, is written by Alonzo Dean Cole and is based on the fictional character of Casey, created by George Harmon Cox. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Leslie Woods as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. Now for our sponsor, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, and all of us on the show, this is Tony Marvin wishing every one of you a joyful and happy holiday at this Christmas time. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall with the greetings of the season. I hope you like the tree. I put up a bit of holly, too. And mistletoe, of course, right there over the door. There are so many things to enjoy at this time of year. The warm, friendly spirit, that's most important. The time to be with family and friends. There'll be a lot of holiday traffic, too, as people make the rounds of visits or travelers are making their way back home. On a lonely road in Ohio, two such travelers are about to have the most harrowing experience of their lives.
Snow's getting heavier, Skip. I wish you'd slow down.
I hope we make it before dark. Oh, I sure don't want to get stranded in this junk. Oh, no.
Skip, what's the matter?
We're skidding. I can't control her.
Skip, do something. You're sliding into that boulder.
I'm doing all I can.
Our mystery drama, A Holiday Visit, was written especially for Radio Mystery Theater by Bob Jurin and stars Lloyd Batista and Diana Kirkwood. I'll be back shortly with Act One. What are your plans for the Christmas holidays? Entertain friends or relatives? Going home to visit parents, perhaps? This is always get-together time, a time when people go home to the families they've left behind as they've made their own way in the world. Joan Bartram made her way from a small town in Ohio to New York, where she worked for a while as a secretary, and then married Skip Bartram, an oil company executive. She hadn't been back to her home in Ohio in 12 years, so it was a particular thrill for Joan when Skip came home one night and said,
How'd you like to go home for the holidays? See your folks.
Oh, Skip, I'd love it. But can we afford it?
Well, the company's sending me to Toledo for a new training program right after the holidays, so the trip is on them.
Oh.
We'll just leave a little early and be with your folks for Christmas.
Oh, what a surprise. Oh, I'm going to call Mother this minute.
You don't want to just drop in on them and make it a surprise?
And have them fade away? No, I want to give them something to look forward to.
Oh, well, maybe you're right.
Oh, it's been 12 years since I've been home, and you've never...
Hello?
Hello, Mother?
Oh, Joan!
How
Mother, are you sitting down?
No. Why?
Listen, Mother, get Dad over to the phone. I want him to hear my news.
Henry, come here. Joan, are you pregnant?
Oh, no, Mother.
All right, dear. Your father's listening.
I'm coming home for Christmas.
Coming home?
Yes. Yes, Skip has to be in Toledo after the holidays, so we're leaving early, in time to be with you for Christmas.
That's the best news I've had all day.
Joan,
Your mother's doing her thing. She's starting to cry.
Yes, so am I. But I have to hang up now. I'll let you know when we'll arrive.
Okay, darling. We'll be waiting.
When can we leave?
Well, I'd like to get away by Saturday. We'll have to drive. I'll need the car in Toledo. Let's see, we ought to get to Runyonville by, the 23rd. The map shows the end of the interstate. What do we do when we turn off?
Let's see. We go north on 84, it looks like. Yes, north on 84 to Hamilton, then 42A to Blue Mountain, and we keep on that to Runyonville.
Oh, I don't know. It looks as though the interstate keeps on going. Well, look there.
Yeah, according to the map, though, there's a proposed extension.
Well, it's been finished since the map came out, I guess. What if we stayed on this?
Well, we'd go straight to Runyonville. It looks as though we'd save about 20 miles, too.
So we're in luck. We'll stay on it. It looks as though, well, maybe it's your folks a lot sooner than we thought.
Oh, it's starting to snow. Oh, we're going to have a white Christmas.
Well, I hope it doesn't get too thick before we hit your folks' place.
Skip, how far have we come on this highway?
Oh, about 40 miles.
Have you noticed anything strange?
You're thinking the same thing I am.
There hasn't been a sign or a turnoff since we got on this road.
Yeah, I noticed that. And come to think of it, I don't remember seeing any cars passing us in either direction.
Doesn't seem natural.
Well, if this road's going anywhere, they're keeping it a secret.
Well, I'm getting a little uneasy. Maybe we ought to turn back and take Route 84 like we planned.
Oh, I hate to do that after it's come this far. Now, this road's got to come out someplace. Let's see, we got about an hour before dark.
And the snow is getting heavier. I wish you'd slow down.
I hope we make it before dark. I don't want to get stranded in this. Oh!
Oh, Skip, what's the matter?
We're skidding. I can't control it.
Oh, let's do something. We're sliding.
I'm doing all I can.
Put any more tinsel on the tree, Harriet, and it's going to topple over.
I don't see how you can sit there so relaxed.
Why are you so nervous? The children said they'd be here sometime today or tomorrow.
They should have been here by now.
Only because you think they should be. If anything was wrong, they'd call. You know that.
Oh, you're right. I'm just so excited about having our Joan home for Christmas. I can't relax.
Well, I think I'll take a stroll in the snow. Need anything from downtown?
No, dear. I've had everything in for days. I just wish they'd get here.
They will, Harriet. They will. Now, you stop worrying. Worrying isn't going to get them here any sooner.
Oh, my head. Joan, are you all right?
What happened?
Oh, can you straighten up?
Oh, my leg's caught.
Oh, here, let me see. Try twisting it a little bit this way. Oh, there. There, it's free. How do you feel, hon?
Dizzy.
Oh, we crashed into the boulders.
Can we... will the car move?
Oh, pray.
Oh, thank heaven.
Well, if I can back her off. Yep, I better get out and take a look.
Oh, that does it.
What's the matter?
2 flat tires.
Oh, no.
And only one spare, naturally.
Oh, dear Lord, what are we going to do? We're miles from anywhere.
At least the snow's letting up a bit.
Oh, we can't just sit here on this ghost road.
Oh, well, where will we walk?
Skip, look. A light.
Oh, yeah. Oh, about half a mile away, I'd say.
It must be a town.
Hey, do you think you can make it on that leg?
Oh, yes. I'd hop on one foot to get out of here.
Well, we can phone your folks. Tell them we'll be a little delayed. We can probably get the car towed in. Well, it looks like we'll have to stay till morning.
Or maybe Dad can come pick us up. We can't be far from Unionville. We can pick up the car tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, that's Christmas Day.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, what are we sitting here chatting for? Come on, let's move.
So quiet. No cars in the street at all.
Oh, the storm must have sent them all home, I guess.
Let's try that grocery store. They're sure to have a phone.
They can tell us where to find a garage, too. At least we can get the car off the road for the night.
So still.
Hello? Anybody here?
It's so dim. One bare bulb.
Well, pretty skimpy merchandise, too.
Hello?
Wow. Whew, the place seems deserted.
Yeah. I don't see any payphone. Or any phone, for that matter.
Hello? Anybody here? Oh, well, we'll go someplace else. There's got to be a restaurant or a tavern in this town. Hey, come on.
Well, I know this isn't Unionville.
Oh, I hope not. Looks like a quaint little place, but awfully deserted. Boy, they must pull the sidewalks in at 5 in the afternoon.
Oh, the sky's clear. Oh, look at those stars.
Wow, I haven't seen them that bright in a long time.
There don't seem to be many stores. Mostly houses.
Oh, we're not on the main drag. Maybe we better go ask directions at that house there. No sense wandering around a strange town.
I guess we should. I'm sure they'll let us use their phone. I'll call Dad collect.
Hey, listen. Hear that?
Singing. Of course, it's a carol concert. That's where everyone must be.
Well, come on, let's see if we can find them. I give up. I don't know where that music's coming from.
We've covered so many streets and nothing.
Yeah, no one. Oh, hey, honey, you're shivering.
No, I'm scared.
Well, there's a hotel across the street. Let's go there and use the phone. There's got to be one there.
This is a ghost town. There's no use wandering about anymore. It's a ghost town in the middle of Ohio.
I wonder. You know, you might be right. It could be one of those, restorations. An antique village, and if it is one, then there's got to be somebody around. A caretaker or a watchman or someone.
Let's try the hotel.
Well, I was wrong, I guess. The hotel is just as deserted as everything else.
And still no phone.
Oh, I wish I had that CB radio Paul offered me. I always thought they were a nuisance, but that sure would have gotten us out of this mess. Hey, come on. Let's look around upstairs.
Every room's empty. Not a stick of furniture anywhere.
Yeah, it's about what I expected.
What was that?
But it sounded like something hitting the roof.
Oh, Skip, let's go back to the car. I'm too frightened to stay here. This place is just too spooky.
Come on, you don't believe in ghosts.
It's not ghosts I'm afraid of.
There's another one. Well, something sailed past the window and landed on the ground.
I'm going down and take a look around.
I'll come with you. I'm not staying in here alone. Can you see anything?
Not yet. There's nothing out here, except a couple of green logs. Over there, see them?
Green logs?
Yeah. Moss covered. Looks like they've been laying there for years.
But, Skip, there's no snow on them. If they've been laying there for years, they'd be covered with snow.
You think that's what hit the hotel? Well, I mean, logs this big don't just fall out of the sky.
Just take me back to the car.
Now, honey, there's no sense getting panicky. We're alone in this town or amusement park or whatever it is, and at least there's shelter. We'll stay here for the night, and we'll just try to get to civilization in the morning.
You want to stay here? We might be murdered in our sleep. As if I could sleep.
Well, dear heart, there's nothing else we can do. I mean, sleeping in the car is foolish when we're... Uh-oh.
The lights. Every light went out.
Well, that settles it. We're not going anywhere now.
The whole town's out. There's not a light anywhere.
Yeah. It seems to be clouded over, too. See, the stars are gone. Come on. Come on, let's go back inside. We'll be safe in there. We'll curl up in the lobby furniture and try to sleep.
I won't shut an eye, wondering who or what turned off those lights.
To paraphrase a popular joke, where were Skip and Joan when the lights went out? Not only in the dark, but in a strange Midwestern village. And just 2 days before Christmas, a time when they should have been enjoying the warmth of a friendly fireside, the pleasure of holiday decorations, the music of a Christmas carol, things that most of us are enjoying these days. But for them, isolation in a cold and darkened hotel. We'll learn what this curious town holds in store for them when I return shortly with Act 2. Joan and Skip Bartram face the prospect of spending the night in a deserted hotel in a strange and darkened town. A town apparently without inhabitants. Could it be a restoration of some kind? A sort of Midwestern Williamsburg? Under normal circumstances, it might be a lovely place to spend the Christmas holiday. But Skip and Joan are anxious to get to her parents' home and friendly family warmth. They spent the night in the sparsely furnished lobby of the hotel. And now it's morning.
Skip. Skip.
Huh?
Wake up, honey. It's daylight.
Oh, my aching back. Oh, that's the hardest couch in the world.
I didn't sleep all night. Come outside. I want to show you something.
Oh, can't you bring it in here?
Oh, stop being silly. There are footprints in the snow, and they're not ours.
Footprints?
Yeah, look out the side window there.
Yeah, they go around the back of the hotel. Well, that means somebody's around here. Come on. They're small prints. It must be a child or a woman.
They lead toward that barn. Funny, I didn't hear or see anyone. I was awake all night.
Well, there aren't any prints leading away from the barn. So whoever made them is still in there.
It's so quiet. Not a sign of life anywhere.
Well, let's go in. It's not like a private house. Anybody here?
It's so dark and dingy, Skip. Skip, let's go back out. I don't like this.
Well, somebody's got to be here. I mean, the footsteps stopped at the door.
Then why won't they answer us?
Hey, listen. Oh, that was somebody's up in the loft.
They're coming down those stairs. Down there?
Oh, good morning, ma'am. We're looking for someone to help us.
Misty. Where did you come from?
Well, we had an accident with our car last night. We skidded into an embankment.
Oh, my word.
We found the whole town deserted, so we spent the night in a hotel.
Oh, how curious. There aren't any beds in that hotel, you know. We slept, or rather stayed, in the lobby.
I'm Skip Bartram, and this is my wife, Joan. We were wondering...
Pleased to meet you. I'm Mrs. McKinley.
Oh, we were wondering if this is some sort of a restoration. I mean, there were lights on last night.
And we heard Christmas carols. Oh, yes. Isn't the music lovely? What do you mean by a restoration? This is Taylor Town. But there's no one living here. You're the only person we've seen since last night. Yes, they've all gone. Each season, a few more left. My husband went last year. I'm the last one here. You live here all alone? All alone in a deserted town? It's my home.
Could we use your phone, Mrs. McGinnis? Joan wants to call her dad to pick us up, and, well, I've got to get a tow truck for the car.
Oh, mercy me, there's no garage or tow truck. Look, but there's a payphone at the railroad station. We never had phones in any of the houses. Just wait till I finish upstairs, and I'll show you where it is. I don't know if it works, though. I think it's just there for effect. I wonder what she meant by that.
Yeah, who knows? I just feel better now that we've met another human being. She seems friendly enough.
But a little strange, don't you think?
Naturally. We're living alone in a dead town.
A ghost town. I wonder how long she'll be. But we could find that railroad station ourselves.
Oh, let her be hospitable. A few minutes won't matter. Mrs. McGinnis? Mrs. McGinnis, are you almost finished?
That's strange.
Well, I'll see.
Has something happened to her?
Mrs. McGinnis?
Skip, what's the matter?
Well, she's not here. The loft's absolutely empty. There's no way she could have gotten out of that barn. There are no windows in that loft.
Well, if she did, unless we just imagined we saw and talked with her.
No, she was there all right. She just gave us the slip somehow.
There's the railroad station. Oh, pray that phone works.
I'm not counting on it, but it's worth a try.
It looks like one of Belle's first payphones. Skip, have you got a dime?
Yeah, I think so. Here you are.
Well, here goes.
So far, so good.
Oh, I got a dial tone.
At least something works in this town.
Well, it's only 10 after 9. One of them's bound to be home. It's ringing.
Yeah, they're probably looking out the windows, wondering where we are.
Hello? Is somebody on this line?
Oh, Dad! Oh, Dad, thank heaven I reached you.
Who is this?
It's Jane, Dad.
Joan? I can hardly hear you. Speak up.
Dad, it's Joan. We've had an accident with the car. You'll have to pick us up.
Where are you? Well, you'll have to talk louder.
A place called Taylor Town. It's practically a ghost town. Do you know where it is?
Taylor Town?
Look, we'll wait for you in front of the hotel. How long will it take you?
Well, it's 10 after 9 now. About 1 hour.
We'll be here. Oh, I can't wait to see you, Dad. Dad? Dad? Oh, the line's dead.
What's the matter? You look concerned.
Dad sounded so funny. I expected more of a reaction. He was so matter-of-fact. He didn't ask for details or anything.
Well, I'm sure he figured he'd find out the details when he picks us up.
Yes, I suppose. You know, dear, I have the strange feeling I know this village. Well, not the village so much, but the houses. The houses look so familiar.
Well, a lot of small Midwestern towns have that turn-of-the-century look.
I guess so. We used to go shopping in Fairmont, and it was full of the same big houses we had in Runyonville. You know, with porches around the whole front and little filigrees under the eaves.
Like that place on the corner.
Exactly.
And look who's on the porch.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Hello there. Where did you come from? I don't get many visitors anymore.
We wondered where you went.
Well, I went. But I've been here all morning. Sweeping the snow, you know, got to get it off the porch before it freezes. Oh, what brings you to Taylortown?
She doesn't remember us.
Mrs. McGinnis, we met you.
You know my name. Mercy, who are you?
Mrs. McGinnis, we met you at the barn this morning, and you said...
A barn, you see? Oh, there's a nice one behind the hotel. Want to come in for some hot coffee? Takes the chill off.
Yeah, thanks. We'd like that.
Well, come along in, then. I'll pick up the pot.
Yes, I don't know.
Well, what harm can it do? Look, we've got at least an hour to wait for your dad. We might as well spend it in a cozy kitchen.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Come out to the kitchen. Hot coffee in a minute with some fresh scones I made myself.
She keeps a neat house. And so old-fashioned. It's lovely.
Yeah,
Oh.
pretty stark.
Come in and sit down at the kitchen table. I don't have much, as you can see, but there's always something to share. You're planning on living here, you said.
No, Mrs. McGinnis. We told you. We had an accident with our car.
Oh, that's too bad.
But I just called my father. He's coming to pick us up.
You called your father?
Yes, just now. On the phone at the railroad station.
Oh, mercy, that is a miracle. I didn't know that phone ever worked.
And we're happy to enjoy your hospitality while we're waiting.
We still can't understand why there's no one else in town. You live here all alone?
It's my home. It's not bad living alone. I get by.
We thought it was some sort of restoration.
I don't know what a restoration is.
A restoration is an old town or house that's been restored to look the way it did years ago.
Oh, this town's looked like this from the beginning, ever since it came from Scotland.
The town came over from Scotland?
It's an exact duplicate of Taylortown in Scotland. The streets and the houses and all the furnishings came from Scotland. Oh, mercy, don't ask me how long ago. Then you were born here. I guess so.
You guess so?
Well, I've never been anywhere else. Oh, you're not eating the scones.
I guess we'd better get over to the hotel and wait for Dad. Thank you so much for your hospitality, Mrs. McGinnis.
Oh, I'll come along. I'd like to see a modern automobile. I'll just get my shawl. I won't be a minute.
She shouldn't be living alone like this. It's made her completely confused.
Oh, I know, but, well, there's nothing we can do, though.
And she kept offering us scones, and the plate was empty.
Well, she's living in the past.
I wish she'd hurry. I don't want to miss Dad.
Well, we've got lots of time. If you said an hour, well, we've only been here a few minutes.
I wonder what's keeping Mrs. McGinnis. Look, why don't we just go on? She'll follow us. She knows where the hotel is.
Mrs. McGinnis? You about ready? Mrs. McGinnis?
Oh, not again.
Oh, talk about the Cheshire Cat.
Come on. Let's get out of here.
You want your eggs scrambled or fried this morning, Bill?
Fried is easier.
Oh, I do hope we hear from the children soon. Getting awfully nervous.
I thought they'd at least arrive last night.
But not to call. It's not like Joan.
Well, that just means there's nothing wrong, Harry. If they'd had trouble, we'd have been the first to know.
Something's not right. I just feel it.
Well, 10 after 9. If they're not here by noon, maybe I'll call the police. Oh, I'll get it. Hello? Hello?
Is it Joan?
Well, there seems to be a voice, but I can't make it out. Joan? Oh, it's a bad connection. I don't know if it's Joan or not.
Oh, dear.
Hello? 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 It's no use. Whoever it was will have to call back. We'll just have to wait.
Skip, I'm terribly frightened. I wasn't before, but now I really am. There's something evil here. I mean, no people except that crazy Mrs. McGinnis.
But your dad's on the way, huh?
I wonder. It's been 2 hours now.
Well, maybe he had trouble. At least he knows where we are. Doesn't he?
How do I know? All we do is ask each other silly questions. I'm cold and I'm tired and I'm hungry.
Joan.
We may just die here. Don't you realize that? We may just die here.
Stop it. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, hon. I had to stop you.
I'll get control of myself. I'm sorry. We'll just have to wait.
Everyone seems to be waiting. Joan and Skip are waiting in Taylortown, expecting her father to pick them up any minute. But Joan's father, as we now know, didn't get the call, and he and his wife are waiting to hear from Joan. It looks as though Skip and Joan won't be with their folks for Christmas after all. Or at all, for that matter. We'll just have to wait to see how it turns out when I return shortly with Act 3. Things look now, it's not going to be a very Merry Christmas for Skip and Joan Bartram, apparently marooned in a strange little Ohio town with only one inhabitant. After encountering the elusive Mrs. McGinnis for a second time, Skip and Joan have gone to the hotel to wait for Joan's father. It's a cold December afternoon, and it's been a long wait.
What time is it?
10 after 2.
I'm going to phone home again. Maybe there's a reason Dad was delayed.
And after that, I'm going to call the state police. I should have thought of it before. We're in a real emergency here. They'll tow us out. Come on.
But suppose Dad comes after we've gone.
We'll ask Mrs. McGinnis to watch for him.
Mrs. McGinnis? Mrs. Houdini, you mean? I wouldn't trust her to give Dad a message.
Well, we're getting out of here as fast as we can. Your father or the police, whichever comes first. Okay, here, try your folks again.
It's dead. There's no dial tone. Nothing makes sense in this place. It's no use. It's as dead as...
Hands up! Stay right where you are!
She's got a gun!
You better be taken off!
Mrs. McGinnis, why the gun?
How do you know my name?
A lucky guess. Why are you pointing that gun at us?
I want you out of here now. I don't trust strangers.
Mrs. McGinnis, you were so hospitable to us before. Why are you...
Before? I've never seen you before in my life. Now get out of here. Start walking.
Where to?
To wherever you come from. I don't allow strangers here.
This is a nightmare.
You don't scare us, because I know in a couple of minutes you're going to disappear.
What are you talking about?
You've been popping up and vanishing all morning. In a few minutes you'll just disappear, poof. So we are waiting right here. Oh, come on, Joan, she means it.
But where can we go?
Back to the car.
She didn't really shoot us. She couldn't.
Keep going.
We're not taking chances with that crazy old woman.
But we're friends out here, and Dad won't find us.
You'll have to pass the car on the highway. Nothing makes any sense here.
Skip, look back. You were right. She's gone.
We'll be okay here. The motor works. I'll just turn on the heater. Come on, hop in. Oh, there's more damage than I thought. The whole front end's caved in.
What a Christmas this has turned out to be.
Oh, honey, we'll get out of this. Let me get the heater going.
We might as well get some holiday spirit if the radio still works. Oh, I'm so bush.
No, you didn't sleep all night. And I didn't get much myself on that wooden couch.
I hope Dad comes soon.
Yeah, we can't keep the motor running all day.
Well, I hope Mrs. McInnes doesn't show up again.
No, she wouldn't follow us out here.
But lock the doors anyway.
Hey, you all right in there? Hey, you two.
Huh? Who's that?
What's the matter?
Are you two okay?
Oh, it's a state trooper.
Oh, we fell asleep. Oh, my leg.
Oh, we're glad to see you.
Anybody hurt?
No. Oh, no, we must have dozed off.
Dozed off and ran off the road. A helicopter spotted your car and called us.
Oh, thank the Lord for that.
How'd you get on this road? It's officially closed.
Well, there weren't any signs about that. It connected with Interstate 40, and we just stayed on it. Had the bad luck to skid into boulders.
This extension isn't due to open until next summer. Where are you heading?
Renmanville. My parents live there. We're going home for the holidays.
You wouldn't have gotten there on this route. It ends about 100 yards up ahead. I'll radio for a tow and get you folks to Onionville. And when did you go off the road?
Last night.
You been here all night?
Well, no, we went into Taylortown.
Taylortown?
Yeah, right up the road. But it's a ghost town except for a crazy old woman who lives there.
I better get you folks to the hospital first. Just a checkup. You know, possible concussions.
Oh, no, we're all right. My wife's ankle was twisted, but once we got out of the car, she was okay. We do not need a hospital.
You say you spent the night in a place called Taylortown?
Yes.
There is no Taylortown around here. I've lived here all my life. And there just isn't any place called Taylortown.
But right up the road. Look for yourself. We were there all night.
I'm sorry, ma'am. And maybe you'd better look.
Oh. There's nothing there. There's no village at all.
No, ma'am. The road ends at that vacant field. Not a town as far as you can see. How are they, Doctor?
Well, no sign of concussion at all. No injuries except abrasions on the woman's ankle.
Yeah, well, what about their story about spending the night in a village called Taylortown?
Hard to say. Maybe they did.
They must have imagined it.
Yeah, they show no signs of exposure.
They only think they were there through the night. They made it on the road only a couple of hours. The helicopter spotted them 2 hours ago. They went to a village named Taylortown. They were hallucinating.
Hallucinations quite common in extreme circumstances. Mirages in the desert. Anxiety can produce them.
Then you think they spent the night, like they said, in a village that isn't there?
Well, they had an emotional experience. Physically, they're fine. I see no reason to keep them here. They're better off going home to the woman's parents.
Neil, they're here. A police car driving up. Joey, Mother!
I'm glad to see you.
Oh, Mother!
We were just about to send the police out looking for you when you called from the hospital.
Oh, I'm going to send that state trooper a whopping Christmas gift. I got his name and badge number.
Skip, it's so good to see you again.
Same here.
Thank heaven you're both okay.
Come on in, everybody. No use standing here in the cold. What happened, Dad? We thought you were coming to pick us up in that place called Fairtown.
That's what puzzles me. We never heard from you. The phone rang early this morning, but no one was there.
Oh, I know I had a bad connection, but I was sure I heard you say you'd meet us. You seemed to know where we were.
You mentioned this Taylor Town. There's no place like that around here. Where exactly were you?
Oh, I've never heard of it either, but we were there. I know the trooper thought we were loony.
Oh, I don't know what to say about all this. Why don't you both just relax? I've got a buffet all ready. We'll have cocktails and you can tell us all about it.
That's a good idea. I'll get your suitcases up to the guest room.
We had to leave all our gifts in the car, but they're towing it in tonight. So we'll have them in time for Christmas.
Oh, they don't matter, dear. Having you here and safe is what's important.
Now, you just relax and enjoy the tree while I get things ready. You must be famished. Oh, it's so good to be home again. And at Christmas time, everything's so pretty.
Yeah. Ooh, that's some tree.
I just love the decoration. There. Look.
What?
Under the tree. Look, come closer. A little village set out under the tree. Cardboard houses. Look at the hotel.
It's Taylor Town.
Mother and Dad got this set when I was a child. I'd forgotten it.
Every house, every street is just the way it was.
The railroad station, the little store, and Mrs. McGinnis's house.
Joan, wait a minute. We weren't... We couldn't have been there.
That's what the trooper said.
What happened to us? Oh, hey, I'm getting the chills. Look at those pine needles from the tree. Those are the green logs that hit the roof.
I wonder.
What?
Mrs. McGinnis. Could she be...
No, I think she disappeared for the last time.
What should we tell Mother and Dad?
I don't know. I think we said enough. I don't know what happened to us last night, but we better stop talking about it.
I guess you're right. Here are the hors d'oeuvres. You can pour the wine, Will.
Holiday toast, everybody.
Oh, I see you admiring the village under the tree. Oh, we haven't set it up for years.
We used to put it up regularly when Joan was a child. Lately, we've just had a table tree.
Ah, but this year, with you both coming, we went all out. Big tree, everything.
Yes, and it's lovely.
The detail in those houses is exquisite, isn't it?
Yes, very realistic.
It was imported from Scotland. It's been in my family for years. Well, here's to a wonderful holiday visit. Merry Christmas, everyone.
If there were an explanation for everything, where would the magic in life be? I think we'd all lose interest if everything were cut and dried, neatly packaged, just right. We need a bit of amazement now and then to soften the blow of reality. Skip and Joan left reality for a brief period, and it gave them something to remember all their lives. I'll be back shortly with a closing holiday thought. The holiday lights are twinkling everywhere. Every city, town, and village sports its holiday decorations. Busy shoppers push through the stores, and children wait wide-eyed for that magical eve. It's Christmas time. We hope your holiday season will be merry and bright, and may all your wishes for the new year come true. Merry Christmas. Our cast included Lloyd Battista, Diana Kirkwood, Joan Shea, and Robert Dryden. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
I know you swore at me.
What kind of a chump do you take me for?
Oh, I'm sorry about the accident, but you know I didn't mean it. And besides, you and me, well, we used to like each other.
What are you talking about?
Look, I was the best safe cracker in the city, and you was the smartest detective on the force. You was out to get me, and I was out to beat you. But there was nothing personal in it, huh? Each one of us was only doing his thing. Hey, man, that's why you gotta get me out of this.
Why should I?
Because you know I didn't kill him.
I don't know anything of the kind.
Oh, look me in... I was going to say look me in the eye and say that, but I can't because you can't. You know I'm not a killer, and you know that I didn't kill him.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers present Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite presents a special program for this holiday season. The unusual dramatization of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, starring Miss Greer Garson, who appears by arrangement with MGM, producers of the new color picture Knights of the Round Table, in CinemaScope, starring Robert Taylor, Ava Gardner, and Mel Ferrer.
Good evening. This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite. Tonight, as a special Christmas presentation from the worldwide Autolite family, we bring you Miss Greer Garson in a story about a certain little girl on a certain Christmas Eve.
And now, Autolite presents transcribed 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
Kathy. Kathy, honey. Come on, wake up. Wake up, Kathy. It's the day before Christmas. Oh, and there's so much
Miss
to be
Bob,
done.
it's light out already. You said you were going to wake me really early today so we could go to the airport and meet them.
Come on, up you get. Let's get you dressed.
Buffy, they're going to be waiting for me and you didn't wake me. I know, Ruff, they're home already.
Kathy.
Mommy! Daddy, where are you? Daddy! Mommy! Buffy, they're not in their bedroom. Where are they?
Kathy.
I know. I'll bet they're in the kitchen already having their coffee. Mom! Miss Buff, they're not home.
I know, honey.
The clock in the kitchen said 8:30.
Kathy, here, put this on, dear. You told me you wanted to wear this dress today, so that's why I ironed it for you.
Miss Buff.
Yes, dear?
Why aren't they here?
Oh, they'll be here.
But when I talked to Mommy on the telephone yesterday, she said she would be here at 6 this morning. And I promised her I'd meet her at the airport, her and Daddy.
I know.
And Daddy said he had a surprise he was bringing for me all the way from Paris. It's 8:30, Buffy. Let's go out to the airport now.
Oh, but there's so many things to do. First, you've got to get your breakfast, and we have to finish decorating the tree. And, there's so many things I want you to help me with.
Everything can wait, Buffy. Hurry, I promised to meet them.
No, dear.
Why not, Buff?
Well, I think we'll wait for them here. Kathy?
Yes?
You remember what you promised your Mommy and Dad? That you'd do everything I asked you while they were away?
Yes.
Then, we'll wait for them here.
All right, Buffy. It's noon, Buffy.
I know.
Don't you think they might have called and told us they'd be late?
Oh, I'll go and make our lunch. You must be very hungry.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you didn't eat your breakfast, Kathy.
Miss Buff, I'm not hungry.
Look. Oh, look, it's snowing, honey. We'll have a nice warm lunch, and then we'll go out for a long walk.
You should have called.
I tell you what, Kathy. We'll take our walk first. We'll see the shops. We'll visit. We'll go and see Johnny and your aunt and uncle. Maybe if it snows hard enough, we can all build a snowman. Wouldn't you like that?
Yes, that would be fun.
Well, go get your coat and hat and galoshes, dear.
All right. And when we come back, Mommy and Daddy will be home.
Well, you go and get your things now.
Oh, I'll get it, Buffy. Mommy. Oh, who's this, Daddy? You sound... Oh, from a newspaper. I see. It's a man, Buff. He says he wants to talk to an older person. Here.
Hello? Yes, this is the Harper residence. I'm the housekeeper. Well, just a moment, please. Kathy.
Who is it?
Someone wants to talk to me, honey. Will you go get your things?
No. Who are you talking to, Buffy?
Never mind, dear. Go and get your things.
No. No, I won't.
Hello? I see. Yes, I saw the papers. Yes, that was the daughter. Yes, the only child. No, she doesn't. No, I wish you wouldn't. Please, don't, here. No.
Who was it?
It was just a man, honey.
It was from the newspapers. Why? What did he want?
Nothing.
He asked about me, didn't he? Why?
Honestly, honey, it was nothing.
It was about Mommy and Daddy.
Oh, it wasn't anything important.
Well...
Yes, dear?
I don't know.
Look at that snow coming down, Kathy. Get your things, dear. Go on. Don't they sing beautifully, Kathy?
Very lovely.
The street and all the decorations and the singers.
It's very lovely, Miss Buff.
Honey, here, give this to the man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Missy. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Let's go home now.
In a little while, don't you remember? We were going visiting, too.
Mommy and Daddy are probably home right now waiting for me, wondering where I am.
And we'll build a snowman together, like I said. Come on, honey. I remember when I was a little girl how excited I'd get. Oh, all the wonderful things to see, the sights and the smells and the sounds. Pretty shop windows and the snow. To be a little girl at Christmas time. To be young at Christmas time. And happy at...
What's the matter, Buffy?
Oh, Kathy.
Buffy.
Let me hold you. Oh, Kathy, darling.
Buffy, you're crying.
I'm just silly, I guess. Why, look, there's Santa Claus watching us. Let's say hello to him.
You were crying.
Hello, Santa.
Merry Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas, little girl.
Merry Christmas,
Ah, you're a pretty little girl. What's your name?
Kathy.
Oh, that's a nice name for a nice little girl like you.
Thank you.
And I can tell you've been a good little girl. I saw the way your mommy was holding you.
She's Miss Buff. My mommy's away. Daddy, too. We're taking a walk to make them come home.
Oh, and where are they?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Kathy, come in, darling. And Miss Buff, how are you? Come in. Mother, guess who's here?
Why, Kathy and Miss Buff.
Hello, Aunt.
Hello, Mrs. Cleveland. Take your things off. We've got a big fire in the living room. And wait till you see our Christmas tree, Kathy.
I'm sure it's very beautiful.
I'll bet Kathy came to see her cousin Johnny, didn't she?
Yes, I did, Uncle Ted. I would like to see him very much.
You know what that boy of mine did, Miss Buff?
No.
He found the train.
Oh, he did?
After I took so much trouble to hide them out in the garage, he found them. So, of course, I had to set them up for him. Well, it's the day before Christmas. He's in his room now. Kathy?
Yes, I would like to play with the train.
Of course you would. Johnny!
I can't come now, Daddy. I'm busy.
Kathy's here.
Hey, come on up and play with my trains, Kathy. You ought to see. I got 'em all hitched up now.
Go on, Kathy.
All right.
I've been on the phone since 7 this morning, Miss Buff, and there just isn't any word at all about the plane.
Look!
A man from the newspaper called the house. I told him to stay away. Does the child know? I think she does. What did you tell her? Nothing. How do you tell a child, Mrs. Cleveland?
Look at it go!
What I can't understand is why no word at all. The plane took off from Paris on time, and there was radio contact over island from what I could find out. But since then, nothing.
You'd better tell her, John. Tell me what?
Well, there was a storm over the ocean. Pretty bad storm. They said...
Miss Buff.
Yes, darling.
I've just figured out something. It's about Mommy and Daddy.
Kathy.
They're not coming home. They're not ever coming home.
Autolite is bringing you Miss Greer Garson with Anne Whitfield as Kathy in 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
This is Harlow Wilcox again with a message from Mr. Royce G. Martin, President and Chairman of the Electric Autolite Company. It is presented in the name of the Autolite family, which includes some 30,000 Autolite men and women and their families, 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite, as well as 98,000 dealers and the greatest names in the industry who use Autolite products as original equipment. This is the message from Mr. Martin. In our America, we are especially blessed this Christmas with a free country. We are surrounded with freedom-loving people who appreciate the word Christmas. We are grateful for what this day means to all of us and for what it meant to our great forefathers. We will never forget the one whose holy birthday we are about to celebrate. We thank him for the word freedom and the happiness that he has given us. We of the Autolite family wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a new year filled with health and happiness.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Greer Garson in Elliot Lewis's production of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. A tale well calculated to keep you in
Suspense.
Oh, it's going to be good to get inside of the house, Kathy. Oh, look at you. You look almost like the snowman you and Johnny built. Here, let me brush you off a bit before we go inside.
There's a man there.
What'd you say, darling?
Right there, standing by the door. A man.
Hello?
Good evening, miss. Hello, little girl. Is this your house?
Yes, I live here.
Who are you? What do you want?
Oh, then you'd be the Harper's little girl, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I asked you, who are you?
Now, don't worry about it, ma'am. I just want to take a picture of the little girl. You want your picture taken, little girl?
Buffy.
You're the reporter I talked to this morning, aren't you?
And we'll want one of you, too, ma'am.
Here, get in the house, Kathy. Don't stand there, dear. Get in the house. I'll be in a moment. It's Christmas Eve, Mr. Reporter. Did you know that?
Oh, now, look, ma'am,
It's Christmas Eve. Where's your heart?
Now, look, you've got to understand. I talked to you on the phone. It was almost 10 hours ago. Before noon. It's nighttime already. There still isn't any word about the plane. I represent a newspaper, ma'am. We've got to assume... Well, you know, I don't want to say it any more than you do.
Oh, just go away.
Oh, now, really, I've got to...
Were you ever lonely on Christmas Eve? Alone in a house that's empty? While outside other people were singing. When there was warmth and love and joy. But outside...
I'm just trying to
Christmas Eve. The snow is falling. Christmas Eve. And the child is grieving.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Good night.
Kathy?
I'm in the living room, Buffy.
I just had a wonderful thought.
Yes?
Let's have a secret.
What, Buffy?
Let's not wait till tomorrow.
What do you mean?
We go to our tree and open some of our presents now. Maybe just one. We'll choose the one with the most beautiful wrapping. You can open it, and you can play with it now while I go and fix something for you to eat.
I'm not hungry, Buff. Honestly, I'm
Or
not.
just some milk and cookies, honey. You haven't eaten
All
some.
right.
Well, let's choose. Go ahead, pick one.
All right. That one.
It's from Mr. and Mrs. Anderson next door. Open it.
You open it, Buffy.
Very well. Oh, look!
Very nice.
A carousel. Well, I'll wind it for you. And we'll put it down here. Now. Oh, that's sweet. You watch it. When it runs down, you can wind it up again. I'm going into the kitchen. Kathy, here's your... Kathy? Kathy, honey, where are you? Kathy? Your milk and cookies are on the table. Kathy? Are you in your room, Kathy? Kathy? Kathy, honey? Kathy! Kathy!
Why, Miss Buff.
Mr. Anderson, is Kathy here?
Well, no.
Would you mind asking Mrs. Anderson if Kathy's here? Maybe she came in through the back way.
Well, Mrs. Anderson and I have been sitting in the living room for the last hour. Well, what's the matter, Miss Buff?
Kathy ran out of the house.
Oh, poor child. I can imagine how she must feel.
I thought she might have come over here next door. She just ran out of the house. I don't know where she is.
Oh, a child like that, and what's happened to her today? Wait, I'll get my coat, Miss Buff. I'll come with you.
Anderson? Want a ride? You can go all the way down the hill for $3. They've got it roped off.
Paul, have you seen Kathy?
Sure.
Well, where is she?
I don't know.
Where is she, Paul? Where did she go?
How am I supposed to know where she went?
But you saw her, didn't you?
Sure. She was running down the block. I yelled at her to come on over, but she kept running.
Which way, Paul?
Down there, I guess. Where the stores are.
Thank you.
Sure. Merry Christmas, Mr. Anderson. Merry Christmas, Miss Buff. Hey, watch!
She hasn't been in my store, Miss Buff, and I'm the only one on the block who's open. Last-minute Christmas rush, you know.
Thank you, Mr. Ruxton.
Say, now, that kid and what happened to that plane today, I'd sure let the police know she was missing.
I think he's right, Miss Buff.
Call them, please. Call them.
Oh, use this phone, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. Hello, operator. Give me the police. Hello, police. I want to report a little girl who's missing. Kathy Harper. Well, she's got blonde hair and blue eyes. And... wait a second, I'll find out. No, you just go in the house, Miss Buff. I'm sure they'll find her.
It's 10 o'clock. They've been looking for 3 hours.
Oh, they have ways. They'll find her.
We waited in that station house. All the policemen who phoned in. None of them.
Well, you just go in the house. Now, I'll send Mrs. Anderson over.
No, really. I'd rather you wouldn't.
Well.
Good night, Mr. Anderson, and thank you. Yes?
I'm Patrolman Reed, ma'am.
Have you found Kathy?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is she?
You better come with me, ma'am. There she is, ma'am, in the second pew.
Oh, Kathy, child.
Christmas Eve. Church should have been the first place we should have looked for that kid.
Kathy, let's go home now, darling.
All right.
There we are. All tucked in.
It's almost Christmas, isn't it?
Yes, darling.
You going to read to me?
Of course. You just lie there.
Buffy.
Yes, darling?
Nothing. Just read to me.
It was the night before Christmas. when all through the house not a creature was stirring. Not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Way to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw open the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer with a little old driver, so lively and quick I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen, to the tops of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all.
Buffy! Mommy! Daddy!
Merry Christmas, Kathy!
Kathy, baby. Hey, it's Christmas. We don't cry on Christmas.
I thought, oh, baby.
Hey, how about a big hug for me?
Oh, Daddy.
That's my girl.
Where's Miss Buff?
I was in bed. She was reading to me.
In bed's the place for you. Come on, I'll carry you.
Buff! It's Mommy! It's Daddy!
I know, darling, I know.
Hello, Buffy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Buff.
We had to make an emergency landing in Newfoundland. Small field communications were shot. That storm...
Yes. Let's not talk about it anymore now.
Buffy was reading me a wonderful thing about the night before Christmas.
Here. I'll put you in bed, Kathy. There. There you are. Read it to us, Buffy. To all of us.
Oh, well, I lost my place. Read it, Buffy. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew with a sleigh full of toys. And St. Nicholas, too. And then in a twinkle, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney, St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down on a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard Miss Greer Garson in a dramatization of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Tonight's production in Autolite's Suspense. Miss Garson will return in just a moment.
Next week on Suspense, our star will be Mr. James Mason, who, as Lord Essex, plots to capture Elizabeth's throne. It's called The Queen's Ring. Suspense is transcribed and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Chorus was under the direction of Roger Wagner. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas was written for Suspense by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. In tonight's story, Anne Whitfield was heard as Kathy. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Irene Tedrow, Mary Lansing, Charles Calvert, Howard McNear, Herb Butterfield, Johnny McGovern, Sidney Miller, Joseph Kearns, and John Ramsey Hill.
And here once again is our lovely star, Miss Garson.
Harlow, thank you very much. And thank you, Anne Whitfield. While I have these few moments, may I join the Autolite family in sending holiday greetings to our friends everywhere. Merry Christmas, Harlow.
Merry Christmas, Greer. Merry Christmas to all. And to all, a good night.